The best time to start your voice acting career is right now, and all you need.
Who not only are attached to all of this wealth and privilege, but now they're the children of the devil. It doesn't matter if they've done nothing wrong. They're all going to assume they know something, no matter what they do. They could sit on 1 million charities from here to now, and they will all be known as Diddy's children. That's just like being called Rosemary Baby.
Real life.
It's so funny when people ask me to say things I already said. Didn't I say it was going to be Trump?
Yeah, you did say that.
I said, what did I say? It's got to be Trump.
Right.
He's the only one telling the truth.
Right. So, would you classify yourself as a Trump supporter?
I classify myself as a believer and an avid follower of the Word of God.
Right.
God has spoken.
Right.
For whatever reason, Trump is his guy. And guess what? They say God works in mysterious ways.
Right.
Nothing happens unless God permits it to happen. I guess that means God wanted Trump.
Right.
And considering on the other side, everybody that was endorsing that candidate is an alleged freak-off attendee.
Right.
I don't see how God was rocking with that.
Do you think that Trump will now release the Epstein?
I think Trump's gonna release it. Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be fabulous. I can't wait to see how many people gag, vomit, and lose their mind. I mean, we're already living in Trump derangement right now. Like, ever since the election, it's been pure Trump madness, mania, lunacy. People are literally faking grand mal seizures and strokes online because this man won a contest.
Right.
It's a contest. One side won, the other side lost, and God ordains all. So who y'all mad at? You mad at God? I don't get it.
Did you vote?
Something like that.
What? What'd you say?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Well, yeah, because the candidate that I went for, you had to write his name in. So I hope he gets there, you know.
So, Jack, what are your thoughts on Project 2025?
Oh, by the way, salute to Dr. Cornel West. We were kicking it with him yesterday.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I think I really hope more people come while they're going through the very extensive Real Life Street Star catalog and look at that interview with Dr. Cornel West and why he wanted, as an actual African-American black man, wanted to run for president and did.
Yeah.
It's nice to know that, not only the good guys lost, but the bad guys lost too.
Right. So yeah, people, the internet, of course, as usual, is in an uproar with fear about Project 2025. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts? Or have you read it? Do you know what it's about? What do you think about it?
I mean, I think at this point in time, we should more be worried. We should really focus on the reality of Project MK Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can sit here and buy into all of these. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, they're doing that. Guess what? If they are, Can you stop them? What's the point in complaining about it? If you should only talk about what you can do something about. If you can't do anything about it, then maybe you should just rely on God to see you through.
Yo, hip hop heist, man. We here. We watching Jaguar Wright today. And yeah, man, she's letting a lot out. So yeah, we just gonna follow along. And hit me in the comments if you see something intriguing you want to discuss. But yeah.
See how simple that is.
Yeah. Speaking of MK Ultra,
Yeah.
you know, word around town is that it's being used to control Hollywood.
It is. And the rest of the country.
Yeah, and that a lot of our favorite celebrities allegedly are using it, and when you see them there and they look like they're in a daze or they're completely standing still or something like that, that is what it is. And it's been alleged that some of our favorite celebrities like Doja Cat, Beyonce, Lady Gaga, 2 Chainz are all caught up or have been caught on camera allegedly under the influence. And that a few celebrities have died. They're saying that Brittany Murphy died from.
It's been more than a few. It's been a crop. Maybe that's why Ashton Kutcher wanted to move around so quick.
So MK Ultra is not the same as Tootsie.
No.
Tootsie
is a drug.
Okay.
MK Ultra is psychological operations. Psych tools that teach people how to trick the human mind into believing whatever is being influenced. See, they don't want to talk about it because it's in everything. It's everywhere. You know, shout out to Odell. He, when we first got together, he asked me had I ever seen a movie and that I've never seen before. It's called They Live. Came out in the early 90s? No, 84. Roddy Piper was in it. Keith David, Mr. I've been old and black and angry for a long time. And they, were, co-stars in this film. And Roddy Piper got his hands on these glasses. And when he put the glasses on, it showed what was really there in the world. And everywhere it was commands and prompts: obey, submit, eat, sleep, don't look, pay your taxes, like everything. So it was exposing the illusion of the world that we live in. And, somebody made these special glasses and there was a certain amount of them and he got his hands on one. And he kept trying to tell people, hey, this is what's really happening. Look in these glasses. He literally got in a fight with Keith David for like 25 minutes, trying to get this guy to put the glasses on so that he could say, he said, man, I got a wife and kids. He said, what does that have to look? I mean, they must have did a whole 5-round WWF style fight. And he finally got the glasses on. He was like, man, it's crazy. So it's interesting because now that movie has been added to my memory bank, I'm like, that's been me.
Right.
Roddy Piper, G.
Right.
Look, I'm getting my ass kicked everywhere. And then they found, oh, wow.
Jag, Liam Payne, his fall. There's a lot of alleged things they're saying that happened.
On multiple levels, his fall.
There's a lot of speculations.
Personal life.
Right.
Health.
What is his ties to Diddy?
I mean, all of those kids from that era, even the British bands.
No.
They all partied with Diddy.
I'm on the thing. I'm on live.
I'm just. It's hard for me to truly get invested in what's happening to Liam Payne right now because I haven't gotten over what happened to Nick. Nick's brother, Aaron Carter.
Right.
A lot of people keep forgetting Aaron Carter was begging for help, begging for independent financing, begging for security. He made it very clear Sony was out to get him, just like Michael Jackson told him they would be.
Damn. That's crazy.
And right around that time.
Real quick, man, let's just start it there, man. Hip Hop Heist. How's everyone doing tonight? Yeah, man. We had a crazy dust storm up here in Central California. I go back to LA in a few days. And then, man, back to the studio. But for now, we about to knock these lives out as much as possible. Look at her face right here. It's great. Looks like a little chipmunk. Oh, excuse me, man. All right, let's get into it. Jaguar, Wright? She's letting out a lot of gems today.
There had just been accused of graping one of the girls from making the band, Diddy's entity. And they were trying to make all of that go away. And Aaron called his brother out. And then the next thing you know, he said, if anything happens to me, I did not do this to myself. And then he was gone, and they said he took his own life, just like they're saying about Liam Payne. Why doesn't anyone want to see the same thing happening over and over and over again? Because if Diddy is responsible for Liam Payne, then he is without a doubt responsible for Aaron Carter.
Yeah.
This is over 40,000.
That is a crazy statement. But all right, let's run it.
So speaking of Diddy, he got met with another lawsuit today. It's about him waving.
He gonna get his ass beat in every week.
Right, like he could waving a gun in a car chase this time.
He's the diddler.
Do you think he did everything? All these things?
He's the diddler. He's the devil. Didn't I say it?
Yeah, you said this.
I told y'all when I was wearing the Sex Face t-shirt and my fatigues, our first big 1 million view interview in 3 weeks. Remember the first time on the blue couch. And I said, I hate talking about all of these things. And I pray to God his kids doesn't hear it, but their father is the fucking devil. Was I exaggerating? 2 years later?
No, not at all.
So let me ask you this, Jag. Why do you think Diddy's kids spoke out publicly?
What choice do they have?
Even I think one of the sons did a rap, and he's like,
what choice do they have? When you're dealing with the kind of narcissistic control freak that Diddy is, and you raise children under that, the financial abuse for all of them is probably the worst. Because there's no way they can make money without him. He has them locked in. And if he falls, who's going to hire them? Who's going to fund them? Who's going to look out for them? No one.
Right.
No one. They're not fighting for their father. They're fighting for their survival. What they all gonna do? Go work at the Good Burger or the with the Wall Burger? What they gonna do?
Right. This is
What
fact.
they gonna go? They gonna go and open up a bunch of very unusually small chicken thigh restaurants with the rosé.
His reputation is tarnished.
His reputation is tarnished. They're also being implicated in some of his crimes. They will be pariahs. They're going to be worse off than OJ's kids.
So what's stopping any?
Like, did y'all hear what I just said?
Yeah, I frowned up. I was like, dang.
Does anybody think about what happened
to OJ's
to Nicole
kids?
Brown Simpson's children that she had with Orenthal James?
No one even talks about them. What happened?
It's like they don't even exist. And their lives are a lot more humble than they would have been. Nobody's thinking about that. And these are children who not only are attached to all of this wealth and privilege, but now they're the children of the devil. It doesn't matter if they've done nothing wrong. They're all going to assume they know something, no matter what they do. They could sit on 1 million charities from here to now, and they will all be known as Diddy's children. That's just like being called Rosemary Baby. They're screwed. Nobody wants anything to do with that. And when it gets to that point, they just shun you. Like I said, what they gonna do? Open up a bunch of wing stops? You see what they're trying to do with this reality TV business? Awful choice right now. And I'll say it again, especially with what is happening with Kim's sons. I'm so grateful that she doesn't have to witness any of this. Because this probably would have killed her.
What's stopping
any white Christian under scrutiny, Quincy being mocked and scorned, the girls now being implicated into home in the SA with their father by a girl who worked the white parties? Like, this is a lot. And they didn't choose it. They were born into this. I don't think anybody's paying attention to that. What choice do they got? If that man calls and say, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, what else are they going to do? They gotta bet on him. I'm sure they're all praying he makes it, because if not, what are they going to do? And they definitely can't count on Grandma Janice. They're screwed. One way or the other, they're screwed.
So there's no escape for them.
How? Was there escape for OJ's children? Their daddy is the new OJ. And we already know he done it. Like, OJ's kids went through hell. And there was reasonable doubt. We didn't see a video of him doing anything. We didn't see him running around in a towel with a knife, We seen that with the Dibbler. It's worse than OJ. Nancy Grace is just warming up.
We all know. Worse than OJ. I mean, yeah, because, murder is terrible. I don't know if they're different. I mean, they're different crimes, but they're crimes.
Do you think it's true when people say, oh, Diddy will never be fully exposed because there's too many huge names involved in the mix.
Oh, I agree. That don't matter. We get enough of them.
Will he make it out alive, Jack?
There's a young woman by the name of Andrea right now doing interviews, suggesting that she was tipped off by someone with inside the feds who said they saw her on some of the evidence seized. They said she was sedated, and they said she was being essayed by multiple men at the same time, which we know is called a train. And she tried to elude that allegedly our 47th president-elect was involved somehow. Do I know if that's true or not? I do not know. But I tell you what I do know. If they try to attach Trump to any of this freak-out foolishness, they all as good as dead anyway.
Jack, you almost I don't know how you know this stuff, but you be knowing the future. You just know everything. Where does this Diddy trial go? Like, what happens? Can you tell us what you think?
It's a RICO. And all those freak-off attendees who endorsed Kamala Harris have now become clear enemies of the Trump administration. Ain't nobody getting no part in it. Diddy about to get some company. And with Trump's new agenda to shut down government funded trans, now that he's shutting all that down and reinstilling, going back to just the recognition of two genders, a lot of the people that was endorsing Kamala are going to have a problem with that. It's not about to be pretty by any means. They should all leave the country now. Go moving. Russell, start a hippie commune. Get everybody buckwheat, grass shots. And, preach to them about the joys of love of the innocent kind, you weirdo.
Right. How you feel about Ray J calling you out? How do you feel about that?
I don't. What I got to feel about Rayford? Rayford is greenlit. Nicki Minaj done called him out on the down low. And there are people that are ready to confirm it. Oops. Rayford better go on ahead. Just go on. I told him to become a star. I told he could score his own films with his own music. Yep, him in Orlando. Yeah. That would make an awesome, for them to be the Amos and Andy, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? I mean, that's what they're doing these days. Ain't it? Giving head to microphones and asking grown men to be condoms. The shit that people will do to go viral, man. I'm so glad all I got to do is tell the truth. Marco Polo, huh? I wish I would sit there and let a grown man tell me, am I going to be his condom? I will roll up my sleeves and bust down on his face. You did that? You let that man call you a condom for views? What you got with 25, 30 racks? It can't be all the way green. That video, it can't be better than yellow. It can't be. What you got 25 racks after you sat there and that had that one? You got one man giving head to the microphone, and you got another man asking you to roll down on his eggplant parmesan. You did all of that for 25K, boy. You better than me. Did y'all see that foolishness? Woo!
I did.
Yeah, we watched it.
Yeah.
Marco Polo. Yeah, that shit was funny. For you.
Well, moving on to a more serious
Yeah.
topic.
You know me. I be having a little fun.
Oh no, it's all good. But Uncle Ron, Beyonce's ex-bodyguard, who
And
threatened to
Diddy.
expose them. Yeah, threatened to expose them. I believe in 2023. Is deceased. He's passed away.
Allegedly, that's what they are saying.
Allegedly, that is what they are saying. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they said he died from that pneumonia.
Yes.
You know, just like Kim, just like Brittany Murphy. That pneumonia ain't no joke.
Mm.
Mm.
Hey,
Mm.
every time somebody get to telling the truth about someone, whoever's been lying, they just say a little prayer and then the pneumonia come and then yeah. A lot of people been getting that pneumonia. I'm surprised they didn't try to say that Liam got that pneumonia, but you know he went over that balcony. But the thing is, they say he went on his own. But there's two other things that I considered as I speculate. This is all my speculation. None of this is true yet. But what if somebody told him he had to jump off?
Man.
What if he would have rather jumped and be tap out?
Right.
You know? Or maybe imminent danger was there. And
It's
that was
alleged
the
that
only escape.
right. It's alleged that he had
so he got pushed.
Tootsie.
Oh no, that's not alleged. That is a fact. There, Rook. It was found in his system in his autopsy. That's not alleged.
Wow.
That's crazy.
The Tootsie, yeah. Mm.
Tootie's the pink cocaine, right? Oh shit, I don't know if we can say that on YouTube, but Tootie's the pink powder. I believe Diddy got caught with it when they arrested him.
Yep.
It's wild. Jag, you also sat down with big homie CC.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on big homie?
Good man.
In this, yeah, he knows a lot.
He was recently poisoned. Again.
Yeah, he was telling. Yeah, he told me something about that.
Godspeed. I've been praying for him every day, and I'm asking everybody involved with this platform, watch this platform, all members, please pray for big homie CC. He's putting his life on the line, exposing the secrets of the transferring agenda to help save lives. You know, I'm looking forward to working with him more in the future. We both want the same thing. We just want everybody to get home safe.
Right. There's an interview we did with him. It hasn't dropped yet, but he talks about demonic forces and how they truly exist.
They do.
Right. Kanye also has a lawsuit.
Yeah, I know. Everybody got a lawsuit. It's like watching Oprah. You don't get a lawsuit. You don't get a lawsuit. Everyone gets lawsuits. I love bread.
Yo, real quick, thank you guys for watching, man. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe real quick. That shit's free, and it helps us out.
Getting 8 ads every 20 minutes.
Oh, and yeah, thank you for that. I should be saying thank you. Because that's how Granny taught us, you feel me?
Do you feel like that it's everyone can just do a lawsuit now. I mean, what's your thoughts on all these lawsuits coming out?
I think they should have been came out. I'm glad to see them finally come. I'm glad people are finally getting brave enough to come forward. And now, with a clear, strong leader like 47th President-elect Trump, I think we might actually see some people get some real justice. Because allegedly, the enemies of all of these people, they're his enemies too, because they're enemies of America. And that's what he's trying to save before we go off the guardrails all the way. And we were there. We were there. You know, the Dow's back up, stock market's looking better. We might all be able to afford to cook our own Christmas dinner this year.
Man.
$7 for a pound of butter, the way Angel bakes. You'll be guys be spending $1,000 on butter every month. On butter. Am I lying, Angel? Huh.
Not at all.
4 households have to share one pie.
It's ridiculous when your weekly groceries are hitting $300-$400, $500
Weekly.
weekly.
When you're spending, and for families who have 6 to 8 mouths to feed monthly, grocery bills is looking like $5K.
Yeah. It's
You got households that are earning $120,000, combined and consolidated income that are going to the food bank monthly.
yeah.
Nobody wants to talk about that, but they want to talk about middle class. If middle class existed, how are people making over $100,000 needing to go to the food bank? That sounds like poverty to me.
Yeah, when a loaf of bread is $6,
Didn't I tell y'all we was coming to a time where a loaf of bread might be costing $25?
Mm-hmm.
It's creeping up real fast, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. Jag, a lot of people trust in you to guide them, to educate them on the industry, what goes on in the industry, how people who are in the industry move, and how people who are interested in being in the industry should move.
Mm-hmm.
What methods do celebrities have when it comes to silencing people who speak against them? What are some of the tools that they use when people are filing these lawsuits? We've seen it several times where lawsuits come about, but they're dismissed over weird reasons before they even go to court. And there's enough lawsuits over the years that, I'm pretty sure you could build a mansion. And what are some of those tools that celebrities use to kind of, hey, no, this ain't going to go the way you think it's going to go?
The internet is the most effective these days.
Oh, wow.
You can pay a group of internet stalkers relatively small amounts of money to stalk your enemies. Somebody should talk to Candy Burris about that.
Mm.
Yeah, I got stuck with some of her trolls after she finally tanked on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. They was here looking for money and so they just jumped over to the Jaguar, right? Hate train. Because they didn't have they wasn't getting paid to hate on Portia and them no more, and Nene no more. It's disgusting. They use bloggers to throw rocks so they can hide their hands. And then, oh my God, I don't understand. Like that bullshit. But the worst is they find 10 people around you. Some of them you'll work with. Some of them you'll be friends with. Some of them are in your life. Sometimes even your spouse. If your spouse is not your partner or your teammate, but your opponent. And all they have to do is promise them this, promise them that.
Do
You don't know
do
how
you feel
many
like
times people like Jay-Z have gone to women like Khalees and promised her career was going to be assured as long as she betrayed her husband, Nas. These are regular practices.
do you think that your ex-husband has sent people to stop you?
Oh, both of them. They haven't sent anyone. They draw a check from the Schluminati, even still. Both of them. Yeah. That's why everyone's so mad at
Did
Odell.
you Did you hear about Mike Jeffries? He's the owner of Abercrombie.
Yeah. He made
He was a-
bail.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. 10 million.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
So why do you think they let him out, but not Diddler?
Probably because he didn't call all of his witnesses threatening to do all kinds of crazy stuff and calling them 100 times a day like an insane telemarketer trying to give away free toasters and fruitcakes. Mike Jeffries isn't an idiot. And he probably ain't hopped up on Tusi.
So, Jag, we finally sat down with D. Haven. Did you get a chance to watch the interview?
Of course I did. I was in the chat. Y'all ain't had no mods in there.
Oh, okay.
I was up in there.
So,
There was no way I was going to miss it. Mod Squad was there. It was a fight in there for a while. I didn't have a wrench, so I couldn't handle up the way I wanted to, but I just started reporting everybody. And y'all know I've been trying to make that happen for a while now. Not for me, not for you, but for him. You know, when someone from your past literally absorbs your life and inhabits everything that you, and then runs around the world playing king with it, meanwhile never acknowledging the person who they stole. I mean, like, that's just egregious. And I get D. Haven because Jill Scott did the same thing to me. You know? Kind of like how Marsha Ambrosius did it to Natalie Stewart. You know, there's a lot of people who have some ability, but not that true God-given talent. And that's what they do. They siphon. So the question is, if everything that everyone loves about Jay-Z was actually D. Haven's real life, then that would suggest that he's probably the greatest pretender in hip-hop of all time.
I told him he needs to cut a diss track.
And you know what? It would go viral overnight.
I told him, I said, bro, you missing a bag on that diss track. He said,
and you know what?
He felt like he was too old.
That's not him. That's not him anymore.
Right.
That's not him anymore. He wants to build up his people. If people really knew how focused he was on correcting all of the ills in our community that led so many people down the wrong path and some to their grave. If people really knew who he was, see, the thing is everything that D. Haven has become is what Sean Carter should be. That's what's funny. D. Haven kept evolving. He kept evolving, and he did it without all the glitz and the glamour and the money and the this and the that, and he didn't have to snitch on nobody, and he didn't have to become a government informant. And look at what he's doing for his people. That's what you're supposed to be doing, Sean. Even copying him, you still couldn't get it right.
Is there anything that we missed that we didn't get to ask him in that interview that you think?
I think y'all just need to do another interview.
That's how I felt like we probably need a little more time with him.
I think y'all need to do another interview. And I'm looking forward to that interview being about the book. And the film project. I really want you guys to see what the betrayal of one brotherhood created for another. You know, if nobody gets anything from D-Haven, get this. Tragedy only exists where you stop trying. His story could have been very tragic, but he didn't stop trying. And look at how triumphant he is. Even now. God bless D-Haven. King amongst men. Really.
King amongst men, she said. Yeah, man, if D-Haven's telling the truth, that means Jay-Z is the biggest fraud in rap history. You get what I'm saying? So, what do you guys think about that, man? Yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think about Jaguar saying that D-Haven saying that Jay-Z is really telling his story.
No, Justin Bieber and Haley, they recently welcomed a child into the world. And, you know, of course, the talk is talking, and they're saying that Justin was forced to marry Haley, that there was some things between his people and Haley.
I know it's working out great for her daddy. Because he's a pure Hollywood D-list bum. And now Justin Bieber is his son-in-law, and now they got a baby. I'm telling you. Yo, that life of a handler, man. Life as a shorty shouldn't be so tough.
Tyler being
And what about Tyler? Tyler being CIA?
I don't know nothing about that. You want to know what's funny?
Tyler, you talking about the little girl from Africa, or what's Jamaica or what? Tyler, the one, the water dance. She got the water song. They just said she's an informant or what? CIA? Come on, bro. If she's CIA, then damn, they really got us. Man, if Tyler's really CIA, they got us. Everybody was doing that little dance. I mean, all the women, some of y'all men was doing it too, probably. But damn, that caught me. I guess informants could look like anything.
I saw that earlier today. And it's disgusting.
Yeah, because they used your image.
I've never even spoken about her, positively or negatively. And there's a reason why. I don't believe in what they're doing to her. I don't believe in what they're doing with her. She doesn't look a day over 14 years old. And she's one of the most highly sexualized female figures on media today. You never see her fully dressed. She's always half naked. We always have to see her skin. We always have to see her body. And as talented as she is, I don't know why she can't be more demure. I mean, come on, just because she comes from South Africa doesn't mean that every woman from South Africa is running around in loincloth, gyrating her genitalia and her ass every time you see her. It's like she can't even sing without popping her coochie.
So you believe she's an innocent young woman?
I believe she's an industry slave. And I believe that they are going to push and over-sexualize her until she breaks down. just like they tried to do to Aaliyah. I don't talk about Tyler because I don't want to bring attention to it because I know what they're doing to her. But when you think about the lyrics of that song, Water, and you
they're breaking down Tyler being a CIA agent.
think about her core fan base, which are girls between the age of 7 and 17.
That's crazy.
Can you blow my mind and set off my whole body?
Oh, wow.
Make me sweat, make me hotter.
Wow.
Make me lose my breath, make me water.
Right.
Holy shit.
Why the fuck would that?
Damn, when she said that part right there, that kind of, like I could see the agenda for sure. Kids, oh man, you're right. I mean, that shit's all on TikTok, and kids, a lot of kids have all that shit. Damn, that's crazy. I wasn't even thinking of that. I don't run TikTok because I just run Instagram. It's easiest. YouTube, almost getting paid from YouTube, and about a couple more weeks. But other than that, dude, I don't have a Snapchat. That shit takes it's just too much storage. What else do they got? Yeah, I just have Instagram. I'm not even Facebook because that shit was just a bunch of fucking grannies and shit. It's just too much. I don't know.
Be coming out of 8-year-olds' mouth and dancing and gyrating and trying to get a bump, bump, bump. Because that's all those kids that are watching her are doing. That's all they're doing.
Trying to get a bump.
They're going to imitate everything that she does. Meanwhile, the local pedo who has a kid with friends with a bunch of girls, 9, 10, 11 years old, inviting the girls over for pizza and to watch Tyler videos. And his dirty old ass is sitting there watching them, gyrating, talking about make me water. Why would I talk about that?
Right.
I know what they're doing with that music, and I know what they're doing with her image. And shout out to DJ Envy for turning an 8-year-old into a...
That was my next question.
And having the audacity to say that had anything to do with Little Kim when Little Kim would never sexualize her own daughter like that. And shout out to your wife. May you rot in hell. You turn your daughter into a snack for perverts.
Wow.
On the devil's holiday? Y'all did a video shoot?
Yeah.
While she's singing those lyrics. Her urine hasn't even turned and smell yet.
Jesus.
There's no puberty nowhere.
That's sad.
And you got her singing Crush on You. I bet every pervert who watched that felt that deeply.
Who's she talking about?
You're weird.
That's crazy.
There's no crime in being freaky. There should be a crime in creating and making and disseminating child videos.
That's crazy.
On any holiday.
Yeah, because
that was child. That was child. How many weirdos watched that and had a little fun with themselves with some baby oil, looking at that baby? How the hasn't CPS showed up at y'all door yet?
Exactly.
But you sitting over there with Charlemagne the Troll. But he's got his own essay issues, don't he? All that shit. Just hilarious. Had any goddamn common sense, she'd laugh her ass right the fuck away from that. She just had a baby.
I think she actually just returned.
She just had a baby. I know she just came back. You just had a baby, and you sitting with a nigga that's pimping his child online and calling that your coworker, and you felt comfortable with coming back. Wait till they want to make an ass cake cheek thing for your baby, because they play like that.
That's wild, man. She's going off, man. Jaguar is really going off right now. You could tell this shit is hitting her nerve, bro. It's kind of, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to hear about that. I mean, nobody wants to hear that somebody's doing that, pimping their kid out. That's what she's saying? That's crazy. Holy smokes.
They play like that over there at the Breakfast Eat It Up Cake Club.
Oh, she's talking about DJ Envy. Whoa. That is fucking crazy, bro. What the fuck?
Y'all niggas is trifling. Somebody need to call CPS. Get on over there. Matter of fact, where's Tyrese? Tyrese, come and steal this nigga so you can put some kind of common sense in her so she won't let this nigga turn her baby into a child. Tyrese should have took your gave her some goddamn good dick and common sense.
Okay,
That's what I
Jag.
think about that.
Well, this is the last question we're gonna ask you, Jag. Then we're gonna get up out of here, and we're gonna see you in Dallas pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully this
you know
time
how
I
we do.
won't get arrested again.
Right.
You
Right.
know, it's me and Odell's 6-month anniversary coming up.
Right. That's perfect.
No,
Gotta
no,
get
no,
y'all
no,
something.
no, no,
Definitely.
no. No, guess what we're doing for our 6-month anniversary?
An interview. An interview, probably.
Yes!
What's that? What's that?
He's like, you ain't.
Housewarming.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Oh my God. So what was that last question?
Okay.
She's like, I
Damon
can't wait to
Dash.
get to my housewarming shit. That's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah, what about?
What is your thoughts on everything that he said now since his interviews have came out and he's speaking and now he has to look at a couple of things since things have went viral and got mainstream attention. What are your thoughts on Damon Dash? Thoughts?
I say Jesse help me complete my wish list and come and sit on that blue couch. Especially after watching the D. Haven interview. I mean, I think it could be kind of explosive to have D and Dame on the couch at the same time. Whoa.
Now that?
Whoa. Life before the Jigga Man and life after the Jigga. Life before and after death.
See if we can make that happen.
Now, see, that would be the best Christmas present I could ever give Real Life Productions. After that, I'm done. I'm retiring.
Well, Jack, you got to make it happen.
I'm working.
You got to make it happen.
And maybe, who knows? Maybe next time me and Big Homie CC can sit down together instead of separately.
Or maybe Damon Dash, D. Haven, and Jaguar Wright sit down and have a real good discussion.
That could be something else.
That could be something else. Maybe we get to the bottom of everything right then and there.
Whoa.
I think that's what we need to make happen.
Whoa.
Real life street stars.
That's how we do it. All we do is do it big.
Right.
And don't forget to buy your Real Jag cruelty-free t-shirt.
Yes.
Right here on Real Life Production. Going over that thing looks so good.
Man, it's so good. Angel got one on. You got one on right now, Angel?
That's one of my favorites. I hate that I can't wear it more often. But when people say, oh my God! Bless it. Y'all honored me with that shirt.
Nah, people love it.
It's a beautiful. It's a beautiful shirt.
I just can't wait till I get my Touched by an Angel version.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got you, Jag. You know that.
Ooh, child, I'm gonna listen to me. I'm gonna be acting the fool. I'm gonna just walk around in that shirt with some heels on. In my new home.
All right. Well, Jag, we'll catch up with you later. In
Love
Dallas.
you guys, and I'll see you back at home soon.
Yeah,
we love you more, Jag.
And y'all, stay tuned. It's about to turn up.
No,
It's
it's definitely about to turn up.
All right, so that was Jaguar. She said shit about to turn up. And what is she talking about? She's talking about Jay-Z. All the people that was in the Diddy thing. Beyonce, Ashton Kutcher, all them. Check out this Suge Knight video.
This is Global Challenge. You have a prepaid call from
Suge Knight.
an incarcerated individual at the R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility, San Diego, California. This call and/or telephone number will be monitored and recorded. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
Hey everybody, welcome to another sit down with Michael Francis. Hope everybody is doing well. All is very good, very blessed on this end. As always, my friends, I give all the praise, honor, glory, and thanksgiving.
You get what?
To our God for that. Hope everybody's doing well, getting back to normal. All of the tension should be over by now. It is what it is. We move forward. Hey, God bless America, and let's make the best of this thing, all of us. That's what we need to do. Very interesting guest today. His name is Suge Knight. I'm sure many of you heard of him. Larger than life figure, certainly in the rap industry. Larger than life guy, big guy, controversial guy. But just about all of these rappers are controversial in some way. Maybe Suge a little bit more than most, who knows. But anyway, give you a little bit history on him. Right now, today, actually, we're going to be speaking to him from the R.J. Donovan Correctional Facility in San Diego. He's doing a 28-year prison sentence for an incident that happened back in 2015. Don't need to get into it. I think he's up for parole in the next couple of years, maybe a little longer than that. Hopefully, he'll have some action on his sentence. A lot of this stuff happening with the Menendez brothers could possibly set precedent for a lot of others that might be doing more time than they should be doing. But we'll see what happens. But I'm really looking forward to speaking to him. But like I said, I can go into so many things with him. He's got such a long history. But I really want to focus on the Diddy stuff. I mean, he obviously has a history with Diddy. For those of you that don't know, back in 1996, he and Tupac Shakur, who was signed to his record label, were leaving an event, and they were on their way to see Mike Tyson fight, I believe. And a drive-by shooting occurred. Tupac Shakur was fatally wounded. He eventually died from the wounds. I think he lingered for 6 days in the hospital. And Suge was also shot and injured, but he survived, obviously. And allegedly, this was the whole East Coast, West Coast. That's what they call it. I don't know if it's the right terminology or not, because it seems like a lot of the East Coast rappers were signed to, Death Row Records. So who knows? But that's what the media terms were, the East Coast, West Coast rivalry. Puff Daddy at the time was on the East Coast, and Suge Knight was on the West Coast, so that's why they called it that. Whether it was accurate or not, I don't know. But allegedly, Puff Daddy at the time, he's now P. Diddy, was possibly involved in this drive-by shooting. He might have ordered it. We heard things like that. I'm certainly not verifying it. I have no inside information. Maybe, possibly, Suge will know about it. We could talk about that a little bit. But again, he does know Puff Daddy, Diddy, quite well. And I'm going to ask him, for some insight into this whole matter, that's going on with him. I think a lot of people want to know. It has shades of Epstein already. That there's a lot of celebrity names, a lot of elite names, a lot of big people involved, allegedly. Some people are running for cover. We haven't. Heard all of these names. I don't like to mention names if they're just being thrown out there. I don't think that's fair to people. But if we do have any kind of, solid, information, then we can talk about it. But I don't want to, smear people when just a name happens to be mentioned. But I'm sure that Suge knows a little bit more. He's got insight into this. He still has, I'm sure, contacts on the outside that fill him in. Plus, he knows, pretty well how Diddy operates, I believe, and I'm going to ask him about it. And just so you know, this was a very, very successful guy on the street. Very successful. I mean, Death Row Records at one point in time, I think they had $750 million in revenue. I believe they put out 1 year alone, 60 million albums or records they put out. I think total 150 million records throughout the course of his involvement with Death Row. So it was a very successful operation. And everybody was signed to that at one time. Snoop was signed, Tupac Shakur, MC Hammer, Dr. Dre, and a whole list of others. I mean, he had the biggest names, and he knows just about everybody in the industry. So a talented guy. He built that company. I'm sure he had, a little help along the way, but he built the company, so you got to give him credit for that. And, I found out in setting this up, I said, is there anything that's off limits that you don't want to talk about? Because I try to respect my guests, the ones that I have to sit down with. I'm not there to put them on Front Street. I'm not there to make them uncomfortable. I'll ask them questions. I'm not a reporter. I'm not an interrogator. I just try to find, as much information as I can without making them uncomfortable. That's my style. People that don't like it, go look at a journalist or a reporter. But he said, nothing's off limits. Ask me anything that you want. It's okay. I got nothing to hide. I'm ready to talk about it. And by the way, I heard on the street that he's a pretty stand-up guy. He's doing his time. He never put anybody else in trouble. I'm sure he was approached. Everybody gets approached. So, in that regard, he's a stand-up guy. So it's going to be interesting.
Wait, so can someone tell me, how long is Suge Knight doing now? Is it 28 years or 26 years? You put in the comments.
What he may have to say. Maybe he has insight. Maybe he doesn't. I'll ask him the questions. Like I said, my focus in this interview is really to see what knowledge he has of Diddy, what he can share with us, what I might be able to share with you. That's what it's all about. I hope to have him back, and we can talk about other things in the rap industry at some point in time. But today we'll try to focus as much on Diddy. I'll let him talk. Anything he wants to get off his chest, that's fine. But he agreed to do this with me, and we're going to respect it in that way. So that's it, man. Without any further delay, here's my guest coming from prison. And remember, we're going to do our best. It's audio only. They don't allow video. We'll probably put up some graphics to try to, complement whatever it is he's going to say. And then we'll take it from there. And when we're done, I'll give you my, impression, my perspective on the interview, and we'll take it from there. So without any further delay, my guest, Suge Knight.
everybody knew what was going on with Puffy for years. The higher ups was doing to him. He repeated what they was doing to him. He does it to everybody else. That's a cycle that's been going on in the music business.
Real quick, if you're watching, appreciate you. Just that like and subscribe button will get this shit going. You feel me? It's free and it helps out the channel a lot. So we appreciate you. But yeah, let's get back to it.
I never was at those parties. A good thing for that, but I never was officially a part of the music party life. I was in the music business, doing what I did to do to take care of me and mine. No more, no less. And I think all the stuff that we can share, it can be a life lesson once.
I agree, Should. And you know something? You know, my position always, because of my experience, you know, with law enforcement throughout my life and with the government, you know, to me, it's always innocent until proven guilty. I don't care what it is. You know, I know how these people play games, and no matter who it is, I feel that way. But, you know, this stuff that's coming out with Puffy, I mean, if any of it is true, and again, I have no knowledge either way. I haven't spoken to anybody. I haven't gotten into it. My own question, how does it go on for so long? You know, when we were on the street, we didn't get a day's rest. I mean, the government was all over us. The FBI is all over us. They got investigations on us. They got informants. They got surveillance equipment.
But he was might not cutting you off, but he was an informant for years.
Was he really?
Yeah. That's why when people was like, oh, he's going to run, he's not. The reason why these type of people get caught up, they always been telling they're bigger than the law because they part of the law. You know? And as you know, all these people get tired of their rap sooner or later. You know what I mean? And but at the same time, you know that. You can't, it's one thing, when I first got to Sheridan, right? I come from the state where we don't fuck with the police, we don't talk to police, and they try to talk to us, we cuss them out. So I get to Sheridan, and his black officer kept trying to speak to me. And I wouldn't speak to him. He said, man, why you don't never speak to me? I said, man, I don't know who you deal with over here. I don't have no conversation with the mother police, you told me. So one day he said, man, I just want to say words to you, one black man to another. All right. He said, this night, they want you and they continue to want you. He said, the FBI, the government is so advanced, they can have planes that you can't see, but can read your license plate. They say most of the people you want to talk to, your guys, shit, probably wearing a watch. And I didn't say nothing then, I thought about it. And then as life went on, everything is cameras, everything is conversation. For a guy, a part of a certain world, and you never go to jail, and you never go to prison, it's impossible.
In your opinion or knowledge, how long was he an informant?
I think probably since the 90s.
Wow.
We had a conversation before. And if you look at the things he was able to do. You were able to do all these things, nothing happened. His friend, one of his partners, they got convicted for selling drugs for the company. Nothing never happened to him. And he got Obama to give him a pardon with no problem at all. I can go to Obama and say, hey, my childhood friend is in prison for life, let him go. It would never happen.
That's for sure. And that did happen with Puffy.
We would be happy. Yeah. 1,000%.
You think Obama had anything to do with any of these parties that he had?
Absolutely.
Wow.
You got it.
Real quick, guys, hit that like and subscribe. It helps out the channel. Appreciate you.
Presidents, you got preachers. T.D. Jack is one of the biggest black preachers around that everybody loves. Everybody in prison, if they try to get the word of religion, they're not going to the chapel somewhere. They're turning to watch T.D. Jakes. He had to resign from his whole community.
That's right.
You talking about You talk about the top of the top of
Unbelievable.
the top.
If you've been injured,
Of
Unbelievable.
the top.
Man, I mean, I got a lot of questions with this guy, but you answered the first one. How do you get away with something like this for all this time with all these people that are allegedly involved? I want to tell you this. I was in the same tier, the same cell that Epstein was on. And Suge, there's no way in hell that guy could have committed suicide on that tier. I was in there for 7 months. There's
Yeah.
no way.
And coming from you, I know you didn't know the truth. And I personally didn't think he was going to commit suicide. But the thing is, he had from Oprah Winfrey to everybody on that island. Anybody with a weird fetish, and that's what underage kids was on that island, and everybody knew it. So it's not like it's a situation where all of a sudden maybe this nigga talk, and you know as well as I know, like you been on the same tier as him, he probably was gonna kill it all. He up himself,
No doubt. No doubt in my mind at all.
And they made sure he did.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no way he could have done it. First of all, they're watching all the time. There's cameras, and just so happens that one particular time there's no cameras and no one monitoring that. I had eyes on me 24/7 when I was there. So, I mean, I knew it was impossible.
Always.
Yeah.
You didn't have that one time to yourself.
Nothing
You're
at all.
always watching yourself.
So
Always. No way. Yeah.
let me ask you this. What do you think's going to happen with Puffy at the end of the day? I mean, you think there's going to be a cover up with this because the right people are involved and they'll cover it up? I think it's gotten to a point where they can't cover it up anymore.
I think. Well, I know pretty much. I can't say I'm 1,000% factual about the shit, but we know where it came from. It's this thing. Puffy been repeating what they've been doing to him for years. How he started off. And it was okay to do what he was doing. At the same time, I feel one of the biggest mistakes he made was going against the liquor and alcohol guys. And bootlegging been around. That started with the Kennedys.
Right.
Kennedys became president because they started with bootlegging. It was liquor. And they gave him opportunity to get into that business. But he did a great job for them. A lot of people thought Ciroc didn't know what it was, and they thought it was nasty. And all of a sudden, he started promoting it and marketing it and became big. And he bullshit gave him $1,000. He never gave him nothing. After it came amazing big, at the same time, he wanted more of the pie. I'm not saying he didn't deserve the more of the pie. I didn't say he did because I went in that meeting. What I did know, and then he gave me what he wanted, he turned around and told him that he was going to sue him. He was going to tell him, he played the black card. I'm going to say you guys are racist. I think once he told him that they was racist, they felt a certain kind of way, like saying, wait a minute, we was good to you, now you're going to call us racist. And you know as well as I know, one of the fastest ways to just destroy a brand is somebody a racist. Child molesters are racist, right? And so I'm quite sure they took it as he trying to destroy them. And the oldest saying in the world is that if you live in a glass house, don't start a rock fight.
Right.
So when he started a rock fight, that opened up the box for them to go look. Since he had the skeletons in his closet, they attacked him.
Friends, Michael Franzese here, and do you believe it? The holiday season is upon us already.
The ride from the boat. Big difference. And how you can know that to be factual facts. There was a situation where I got Pac out of prison. So when I got Pac out of prison, we going to the Soul Train. At the Soul Train Award, you have Puffy and Bad Boy and Biggie at the awards. You got me and Pac in the same vehicle, and we all going to the awards. Now, we probably had close to 100 guys from Compton, all in sweatshirts. Matter of fact, we all was in ghetto wear. And you had a whole bus full of guys from the Bay. We all heading to the Soul Train Awards. There was a guy that did security for us that called the police at the Soul Train Awards. And hey, you might not want to let them in. They coming to the awards, and we beat. That alone was a Judas move, but it happened. When we got to the gates, getting to the awards, they said, like, if Pac come in, we might come in, or we might can't come in. We leave our vehicles. One of our vehicles, my Hummer was was blocking the driveway. Everybody else was on the street. The vehicles was up in the street. We had to get through by foot. As we coming in, they trying to come out. We all seen Puffy run and go out of a limousine. But at the same time, the police was on us. As we having this altercation to get past the police, a guy pulls a gun. The guy pulls a gun was a gang member from Compton on a different side of us. Nobody panicked, but they knew where he was from. They knew what happened. So when they said that, the crazy thing about all this is that they knew what gang this guy was from. I'm not saying the gang, but it's only obvious. But if you want to know, there's no puzzle because it's a police report. They take this guy with a gun. Nothing happens. Everything go away. Now, move forward. When we got shot in Vegas, they say this is the same gang that's with Puffy. Nothing happened.
Again.
When the guy involved in jail, they saying you the guy who's involved with the shooting, Tupac and Tupac dead. I got a bullet into my skull. Whatever it is, what it is.
All right, so
at the same time, there was a war in Compton. Everybody who knows anything about anything in Compton, that war, they all salute my neighborhood, say we won the war. I don't think nobody won the war because at the end, everybody pretty much lost a lot. But the guy who's in prison, in jail, waiting for trial, told authorities a long time ago that he paid them to do that.
Puffy paid him?
And at the same time, yeah, there's no puzzle. He said 1,000 times. And they tell this, even from his on the platform, say how it's done. Then on top of that, right? Jimmy Iovine, who started Interscope with Ted Fields. When they started Interscope, they was about to go bankrupt in 2 weeks. I told them not only would I save their company, but I'm going to give you the hottest company in the world, Death Row Records, which I did. They claim they love Tupac, but at the same time, Doug Moore's Jimmy Boston.
No, he's right though.
Who's running Universal.
That's exactly
He gave
it.
Puffy a deal, did big money, but it flopped. He lost money. Jimmy Iovine, under the same umbrella, gave him another big deal before they recouped the money. You don't recoup what you lost already, they're going to give you more money. They did.
Why do you think they did that, Suge?
Because one, the other stuff they do, it's not about me telling on people personally, but you know as well as I know, all these people use cocaine. All these people use drugs.
Yeah.
All these people mess with underage boys and girls. So it's like them, like even though I don't know you, and if you came to the yard I'm on, I'm gonna send you a pair cat to give my guy to give you some. I say he's a solid guy. Even though we from different states, different race, but he's solid. Here, go look out for him. Like we'll look out for each other who's solid. They gonna look out for each other who do the real, the weirdo stuff. And you know it. Weirdo stuff because they involved with threatening young girls, threatening to beat them up, and giving puppy money come from Interscope or Universal for hush money.
Yeah.
Who would do that? Nobody in the business. But when you look at all those type of things, the biggest victims of all this, believe it or not, he might be a weirdo. And I'm not saying everything they allege that he did is true, but a lot of stuff we all been knowing is true. But he the fall guy right now. It's not one celebrity that he hung with is speaking up for him. Snoop and Puffy was so close, closer than most.
Really?
They would do things together and party together, do things that it was uncomfortable for two men to be that way. Clark and Trey, Russell Simmons,
You think
everybody knew what Puffy did. This the big question is this. It's not one person didn't know that Puffy was an usher. It's not one person didn't know what the saddest thing in the world is what they did to Justin Bieber.
what was that?
That's sad.
What'd they do to him? Because there's a lot of speculation out there, but nobody. I mean, I've heard things, but what did they really do to him
They had sex with him.
when he was a
And
kid?
I hate to say that, but I hate to say that because I really like Justin Bieber. I feel bad for Justin Bieber. And this wouldn't have happened if Justin Bieber came from a wealthy family. Justin Bieber pretty much came from a poor family, but the young man was so talented, and he could have been bigger than Michael Jackson. But the depression of the drugs and the stuff he allowed these grown men to do to this little boy is unhealthy and it's fucked up. No grown men supposed to be getting high and doing drugs and drinking with a kid.
Hey, Suge,
I'm saying,
yeah, Justin Bieber has been getting this out in different ways. You could see it in his music and just what he's been trying to say without saying it. So, I mean, I think everybody knows what you just stated to be true.
The best time to start.
Best time to start.
Justin Bieber, a grown man take Justin Bieber when he was young to a vacation, a romantic vacation, showing pictures on the Instagram with no women, nobody else but a grown, successful man and this little kid. And even if you and I was going on vacation together, and regardless if the wives mad or not, it's definitely not going to be in me and you. It's going to be mad because we're going to have some oh, I'm not gonna be sitting on no romantic island, just you and me.
Hell
You
no.
know what I mean?
Hell no.
I'd rather take the chance. I'd rather take the chance of my girl saying, hey, you know, you up there having parties and you right. She damn sure ain't gonna say this, you and I on a romantic island, that's us.
Hell
So when
no.
they took Justin Bieber and just them, that only is a bad look, it's sad.
Yeah.
But the worst part about it is everybody said what was done to Usher and they done to Justin Bieber. And the thing with Usher spent the night and Prima Puppy being in the same bed to do an album. They never did one song they put out at that time. On top of that, when I met Usher, I came on one time. I'm speaking to the guy because he got good songs. That's out of respect. Like a young black man. This dude rolled his eyes at me. And so there was somebody came over as Kevin said, Suge, you know, don't have one of your guys do nothing to him. He a good young man, but him and Puffy got a thing. He a thing. He said, he gave me a look like, you know. And I thought about it. The way he rolled his eyes at me wasn't like somebody homie rolled it. It was like I beat up somebody man. Like I beat his, you know, he the bitch. Like somebody to roll their eyes. Like you beat my boyfriend up. I ain't speaking to you.
Really?
It was one of those, right? Yeah, for sure. And the crazy thing about it is like Leslie, his mother, and everybody else said the same thing. Well, it was wrong, but if we go and get Puffy in trouble behind that, Usher wouldn't be Usher. He'd be known as the guy who got molested by Puffy, and they didn't want that. They wanted the money.
I met Usher back in, I think, 1999 or 2000. I did a concert up in San Francisco, and I had Usher and Casey and JoJo and a bunch of guys back then. And he was a nice kid at that time, man. He was respectful, and he did a great job. I guess this was before Puffy got a hold of him. My friends, if you enjoyed this version and you want to see the full uncut interview, you can go to Frenzy's Community online right now, and you can pull it up. We got a lot more things in there. We got Bible studies. We got Q&A sessions. We got courses that we put in there. We got so much content that I know you're going to enjoy. So go to michaelfrancis.com/family. Pull it up right now. I keep giving.
September 17th, 2024, the music producer, executive, and billionaire entertainer Sean Diddy Combs took a walk through New York City. It was a long walk. Throughout the day, he took selfies with fans in Midtown, spent a few hours with his kids, sat by the reservoir in Central Park to take in the sun, and even went to visit Harlem, the neighborhood he grew up in as a kid. It's a strange thing for a celebrity to do, just wandering the streets for hours. But Diddy wasn't just enjoying a relaxing weekend in the city. He was savoring what would most likely be the last hours of his life as a free man.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan.
Damn, so he knew. He was out all day just trying to soak it all up because he knew. That's crazy, man.
Hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul.
Because Diddy had been under investigation by the Department of Homeland Security since the beginning of the year, starting with raids on 2 of his homes in March.
Sean Combs' luxury mansions across the country raided by Homeland Security agents, and 2 of his kids put in handcuffs for a brief time.
Stemming from a civil suit filed by his ex-girlfriend who accused him of systematic abuse and control for over 10 years, the feds took 6 months to build up enough of a case, then put him in jail and denied him bail completely, leaving him stuck behind bars at least until his trial begins in May of 2025. In many cases, this would be the place to say that the charges came out of nowhere, or that there was some kind of conspiracy underway to bring someone down. But with Diddy, unfortunately for him, that wasn't the case at all. While nothing had ever been confirmed until now, rumors about Diddy had been going around for years.
The Lamborghini for a day or two, and he had access to the house, and he knows better than be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
People had been telling
Why would you talk like that, bro? You're a weirdo, dog.
Stories about his ruthless, intimidating business tactics, egotistical personality.
I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
Financial mistreatment of artists, and bizarre public relationships since the 2000s. But whispers don't carry a lot of weight, and Diddy's business career continued on uninterrupted. He even became one of hip-hop's first billionaires in 2022. just a year before the allegation that would lead to his arrest was published. And now, with countless detailed and believable lawsuits flying.
Well, we'll bypass that. How y'all doing out there? If you wouldn't mind, can you like and subscribe, man? That shit helps a lot. Puts us in the algorithm. You already know.
The magnitude of Diddy's evil just got bigger and bigger, to the point where he no longer looks like a music executive with a dark secret, but a full-on psychopath who built the facade of an empire to cover up his pathological evil, from assault to threats of killing and even bombings against his rivals. And the questions ask themselves, what kind of a monster do you have to be to end up so evil? How many people turned a blind eye and allowed him to do what he was doing while he offered gifts, connections, and donations, building up a persona as a glamorous member of the Hollywood elite over many years while he essentially tortured people behind the scenes? And who else is out there masking their evil behind smiles and luxury? Not monsters in the shadows, but instead evil, despicable people standing in the spotlight. But most of all, how is a person like this created? Who is Diddy, and how did he end up as one of the most evil public figures in modern history? On a dark, freezing night in January of 1972, a man named Melvin Combs, a 33-year-old retired military veteran from New York City, sat silently in his parked car. He was parked along Central Park West, a wide avenue in Manhattan that separates the greenery and peaceful quiet of Central Park from the gorgeous, affluent Upper West Side. At least, that's what it is today. But New York in 1972 was a very different place. The local economy was struggling, unemployment was higher than ever, and people and businesses were leaving the area as quickly as they could. New York at the time was dirty, dark, and falling apart. Melvin Combs himself lived in Harlem, where a widespread increase in arson, violent crime, and drug use had turned Harlem, a previously vibrant neighborhood, into a grim, shadowy underworld. Melvin returned from his service in the military at a time when benefits for veterans were practically non-existent, and living in Harlem, it was very difficult for him to make ends meet without dealing drugs. But he was good at that. Eventually, he even formed ties with Frank Lucas, the infamous New York drug lord whose life was later turned into a Hollywood movie. But on that night, as Melvin sat in the car, engine running in the cold darkness, a figure came out of the shadows and shot him dead. His killer was never found. Most murderers weren't in those days. Most people figured it wasn't a random accident. When Melvin had been arrested for trafficking drugs 2 years earlier, several of his associates had been raided and imprisoned shortly after. It led to a rumor that he had become an informant in exchange for immunity, because he was never arrested again. Detectives believed the 1972 murder of Melvin Combs might ultimately be traced to members of a heroin distributing conspiracy. In 1971, a heroin cutting mill and a conspirator's home were raided, shortly after Combs had been arrested for possession of heroin and $45,000 in cash. Essentially, it was entirely possible that there was a bounty on his head for selling his own people up the river, although nothing was ever proven for sure. Either way, what Melvin left behind on the day he died wasn't just a life of crime or a drug trafficking empire. He was a dedicated family man, married to a part-time model and a teacher named Janice, and together they had 2 young kids, a 1-year-old girl named Keisha and a 3-year-old son named Sean, both of whom would now be forced to live without the strong, grounding influence of a father in their life. After losing her husband, Janice Combs realized how much more difficult it would be to raise her kids in a healthy, caring way without a father, especially for their son Sean. She cared a lot about making sure that Sean didn't end up going down the same path as his dad, becoming a drug dealer, living the street life, or even worse. Doing whatever she could to protect him. For starters, she wouldn't tell him what happened to his father. Throughout his childhood, she told Sean that his dad was killed in a car accident, a cover-up that he wouldn't discover the truth behind for almost 2 decades. She then took on the massive financial burden to move them out of New York City. They went to the neighboring city of Mount Vernon, which, while not a lot safer or nicer than the dirty underworld of New York that had taken her husband's life, it was at least sort of a fresh start. Being a widow raising 2 kids by herself, Janice had to work 3 jobs at the same time to pay the bills, and they were still in poverty. A lot of the time she was so busy that she had no choice but to send the kids to stay with her sister, who lived in the Patterson housing projects in the South Bronx, in the same type of environment she fought so hard to get them out of to begin with. And it was there that a young Sean Combs experienced what he would say later became the exact source of his lifelong ambition. Being a kid in the South Bronx during the late 70s was not ideal. At the time, the South Bronx was widely considered one of the most underprivileged places in the US, with conditions so bad that even the president visited to draw attention to to the struggles New Yorkers were facing. Diddy said this: "One day we woke up and there were 15 roaches on my face, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to be somebody. I'm going to own something and be able to take care of my family. I don't want to live in these conditions anymore." And while that particular quote turned into more of a meme than anything, with Diddy only telling it once he had become a billionaire many, many years later, it's not unbelievable considering what the Bronx was really like at the time. He also said this: "It just kind of snapped on me. Don't take less in life and always fight back. To this day, whenever I get too comfortable, I remember the roaches. I remember living in a situation where babies weren't changed for 2 or 3 days and everything smelled and there was no food. That memory is what really fuels me to make sure that one day none of us have to live like that." Luckily for Sean Combs, as he grew up in the gritty, decaying streets of New York, the biggest deciding factor in the direction of his life was his mom's dedication to raising him right. Janice Combs raised her kids Catholic, getting them involved in the local community and putting them on the track towards education and discipline, making sure that Sean stayed away from the choices and lifestyle that killed his dad. They regularly went to church, and Sean even worked as an altar boy when he was a kid. Janice was even able to get Sean into a private school, Mount St. Michael Academy, an all-boys Catholic institution in Mount Vernon with numerous educational awards to its name. But despite her best intentions to protect her son from the evils of the drug trafficking and gang violence that killed her husband, there was an entirely different type of evil lurking beneath the surface at Sean's school, the very same place his mother had sent him so he would be safe. This is the first installment in my documentary series examining the history, the crimes, and the nature of Sean Diddy Combs. I spent the last couple of weeks reading books and articles diving into his past, and I think it's the best thing I've ever made, even though it is pretty dark and disturbing. The next part is even worse, covering the lawsuits, the details, the connections of Diddy, and what his fate will probably be. I'm currently working on a kind of cut-down version to put on YouTube in a few weeks, but if you want to see the full, uncensored director's cut, it's going to be available first on Nebula soon. Nebula is an independent streaming service I helped create that's home to countless excellent creators, and it's a really unique platform. You can watch a ton of exclusive originals on there right now, like my documentary Danger Music, where I dive deep into the dark side of music history, covering some of the craziest, most dangerous artists that ever lived. Anyway, Nebula helps me make insane videos like this, and you can get it for just $6 a month or $36 a year, with a portion of that going to work predatory events at Mount St. Michael Academy and Sean Combs himself. Sexual abuse by Catholic priests is a known, widespread issue that casts a long shadow over the reputation of the church, even though studies and information are limited, with many Catholic brotherhoods refusing to grant transparency to outsiders. But we know from extensive research that there's a cycle of sexual abuse, a positive correlation between being a victim and later becoming a perpetrator. In many ways, our childhoods shape our adulthoods, and with Diddy attending a school that was later found to have abusers at the top of its leadership and being an altar boy for many years, the monstrous, evil choices and behaviors that later defined his life could be a hint at a dark, unresolved trauma from his past. With countless stories coming out later about Diddy forcing young boys to undress in front of him, admitting to sleeping in bed with Usher, having a bizarre relationship with Justin Bieber, lawsuits that allege he sexually forced himself on men as a form of domination, there are even videos of him being physically intimate with Biggie Smalls. Not to mention the fact that people have been talking about this in radio interviews and podcasts for years. That behavior isn't Diddy being gay. That's a guy doing what he knows, repeating what was done to him. That type of behavior most often doesn't come out of nowhere. As soon as he finished high school, the Combs family was overjoyed when Sean was accepted into Howard University as a business major. But still, being at university was never his top priority. And during his first year at Howard, he leveraged connections from back home to secure an unpaid internship at Uptown Records, a New York-based record label that at the time was one of the fastest growing in all of R&B and hip-hop. Around this time, Diddy, then going by the name Puffy, gained a reputation as a fiercely ambitious industry player willing to do whatever it took to advance his career. He had a natural talent for networking, and many of his opportunities arose from his ability to forge connections with influential people easily. His internship at Uptown Records, for instance, came through a friendship with a New York rapper he met at a party that he hosted as a teenager. He started commuting between Howard University in DC and Uptown Records in New York so he could pursue both opportunities at the same time. He was tasked with helping develop the label's newly signed artists like Jodeci, Father MC, and Mary J. Blige. As an intern, his main responsibilities would be things like driving Mary J. Blige from her apartment to recording sessions in Manhattan or organizing events for artists on the label. But it was quickly discovered that he had far more useful talents than running a guest list or driving an artist to the studio. The company quickly realized that he had such an ear for production, trend-making, curation, and relationships that he became an essential part of their operations practically overnight. because the first record that Diddy ever produced ended up being a massive hit, but he wasn't even meant to be the producer. Originally intended to be produced by a professional, the producer never showed up to the studio, so Diddy sat down and made the record himself. That record ended up selling 2 million copies. And so within a year of working at Uptown, the label's founder, Andre Harrell, promoted Diddy to Director of Talent, one of the highest positions in the company, despite the fact he was barely 21 years old. Diddy wasn't just ambitious, he had the skills to prove what that ambition was worth, and he was quickly becoming very, very powerful. Even back when he was making a name for himself as an influential young tastemaker in R&B and hip-hop, producing a long list of hit songs for artists like Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, and more, there was a strange darkness starting to surround Diddy's career. On December 28, 1991, Diddy and Uptown Records artist Heavy D, at the time one of the top rappers in New York, were set to co-host a charity basketball game in the City College of New York Gymnasium, a small venue with a capacity for about 2,700 people. As a crowd gathered in the lobby, some people rushed down the stairs and through a set of swinging doors, thinking they would be able to get into the event that way, not realizing that the stairs didn't lead to the main event, but instead a utility stairwell. Over 3,000 people rushed forward without a clue, creating a crowd crush that would kill 9 people at the front of the crowd in under 15 minutes. The 9 people killed by the City College Stampede were high school and college students, all between the ages of 15 and 26. They were all from the surrounding neighborhoods. And while crowd crush events can be impossible to predict and control, and most of the time the fault lies with the security team, Diddy's reputation still took a hit, with many media outlets directly blaming him for the deaths of almost 10 kids. After all, the event had his name on it. Diddy even later claimed that he contemplated taking his own life after the accident, saying that he lost his mind from the pain and trauma. He stated publicly,
Damn. So he's responsible for a lot of people dying at the college. That's kind of crazy. All this shit is karma. All this shit is karma.
Lemonade, pet, insurance.
publicly that he had been left alone in the gym with all the bodies, trying to resuscitate people to no avail. I knew I would have to explain what was going on and what happened. I was there with 9 bodies on the ground. Nobody else was there. No police, nobody. Just me and 9 bodies. In his words, it ruined his life. It was too much for me to handle. After the incident, it was like I was crazy, losing my mind, thinking about the people who died, thinking about the families, thinking about their pain. For a while, I was probably clinically insane. In reality, though, the other side of the story didn't quite go the same way. The real victims were the people who lost their kids, brothers, sisters, and friends. And those who later spoke out all pointed out that their own personal lives were over forever. They had no fame, wealth, or clout waiting for them on the other side, just the trauma of losing family members they could never replace. One person whose older brother was killed at the event said this in 2024. I believe in karma. He never really owned up to anything, and he never told us he was sorry. Whatever's going on with him now, I guess it was meant to be. But me, I lost everything that day. I lost my big brother, my best friend. He walked right past me after there was this big rush into the gym. He was with Davante Adams from Jodeci, and he didn't seem concerned about what was going on. I never got the sense of remorse or accountability. Just, let me get my stuff and get out. But somehow, this story doesn't just end with callous indifference to people's lives. The concert had originally been organized as an AIDS outreach education event, and a portion of the ticket sales was to be donated to charity. Once all the dust settled from the tragedy, though, the money was nowhere to be found, and there had possibly never been any money set aside to begin with. A criminal investigation later discovered that while the majority of the blame for the disaster should fall on City College for failing to realize the potential for a huge crowd, some blame still fell on Diddy himself, which resulted in several lawsuits settled out of court in the years to follow. But what most of all revealed Diddy's true character was a 1998 civil case that was brought against him by 2 of the victims' relatives. During that case, a New York City judge named...
Yo, real quick, guys, thank you for watching. I'll be on here for like another hour. But if you can help me, just like and subscribe, man. I'm trying to get those hours. So I could give you the more content, man. So I can bring you consistent content. Thank you.
Louis Benza, ruled that Diddy was lying about his attempts to save people in the gym, and it only questioned his credibility even further. After the events of the City College Stampede, Diddy seemed a lot more like a sociopathic narcissist than a guy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time during a tragedy. It wasn't necessarily his fault that the accident had happened, but the way he acted afterwards, trying to take credit for things he didn't do, trying to paint himself as a victim when all he had done was separate himself from the real situation. At best, it made him look like a narcissistic scumbag, but at worst, it revealed an evil lurking underneath his charismatic personality. Because even in the early 90s, Diddy was already known for being a party animal unlike any other. But it wasn't just a vice, it was also one of his greatest assets. Once he was working at Uptown Records, he became notorious for parties that he called Daddy's House, attracting over 1,000 guests every week, from college students to local kids to celebrities, rappers, and athletes. He was becoming more than just an A&R, but instead a strangely alluring, larger-than-life figure in the industry. Because these parties weren't just about having fun. They were strategic networking events where Diddy could spot new talent, make connections, and build his reputation. However, they also had a darker side, with reports of excessive drug use, underage drinking, and questionable behavior even early on. And maybe the most conspicuous example of Diddy's character at the time was when a 14-year-old usher came to live with him for a year. In 1991, the same year as the deadly stampede, a then 14-year-old usher, who just recently signed a record deal, was sent by his label to live with a then 25-year-old Diddy in New York. From a business perspective, it made sense. Diddy was a powerful tastemaker with experience and connections. In the biography of Diddy by Susan Trout, Combs groomed stars in an intensely hands-on style. He reinvented their images by helping shape their music and choose their clothes. For better or worse, Combs sought to control every aspect of an artist's look, sound, and actions. He was taking on more and more responsibility because his ambitious nature made him crave more. So maybe Usher was a kid with lots of potential and Diddy wanted to help him grow. But from a personal perspective, that wasn't quite as clear. Why in the world would a 14-year-old boy be sent to live with a 25-year-old man he didn't know? Especially someone like Diddy, who was known for being a crazy party animal. L.A. Reid, the label exec who sent Usher to live with Diddy, said this: Usher was 14 years old, but nothing about him ever seemed juvenile. I was turning him over to the wildest party guy in the country at an age when I still needed his mother's permission. But he went to New York for almost a year. I didn't know whether I was being irresponsible or having an epiphany. Usher later went on to become a massive R&B star, in many ways with his career being pushed forward by people like Diddy. But it wouldn't be until many years later that he expressed more candid thoughts about the time he spent in Diddy's care. During a 2016 interview on The Howard Stern Show, he gave some candid thoughts on what it was like. Although he was noticeably cagey and pretty uncomfortable looking, he did share a few details, and as it turns out, L.A. Reid wasn't having an epiphany. He was, in fact, sending a literal child into a den of snakes.
Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go. Hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't necessarily understand.
Now, would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
See?
You can literally see and hear Usher's discomfort when talking about this. We might not know what happened between them exactly, but it's not hard to interpret how he feels about it. The look on his face during this interview is genuinely haunting. Even Diddy himself later went on to reveal some pretty concerning details about the 14-year-old kid living in his house, basically saying that he even had Usher sleeping in his bed.
My brother right here from day one, we used to wake up and, pause, but like just out. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the Frosted Flakes. You know what I'm saying? Before pause was invented, but it's my brother for real. We used to actually wrestle off of the Frosted Flakes because he used to always get up early. Now he's one of the richest stars in the world. And
what the fuck did Puff just
While neither
say?
Diddy nor Usher ever acknowledged specific details about their relationship, predatory or not, the fact that a 25-year-old man was given custody of a 14-year-old boy at all is deeply troubling. And again, it reveals a lot about Diddy's character and priorities. Elsewhere in the city, a 20-year-old named Christopher Wallace was also raised by a single mother and sent to Catholic school out of his mother's desire to keep him safe in the dangerous streets of New York. Christopher, though, went down a much different path than Diddy. Despite his strict moral upbringing, he started selling drugs when he was only 12 years old, hiding his drug money on the roof of his apartment building so his mom wouldn't discover it. But by the age of 17, after dropping out of high school, he had been arrested for drug dealing multiple times, including once spending 9 months in a jail in North Carolina because he was caught selling crack cocaine. By 1992, at 20 years old, he was facing up to 15 years in prison. But even though their lives couldn't be more different, Diddy and Christopher crossed paths anyway, in a way that would change both of their lives forever. Because in 1993, Diddy discovered Christopher's music by accident while going through demo tapes at Uptown. Christopher, going by the rap name Biggie Smalls, was still in and out of jail and dealing drugs at the same time as he was trying to make music. He had no experience in the industry, just demo tapes that he reluctantly made at the insistence of a producer friend. The story goes, though, that Diddy was completely convinced he had found the next big thing. And so when he finally tracked him down and convinced him to sign to Uptown, one of the greatest and darkest eras in hip-hop history was about to begin. But at the same time, Diddy was still going through even more issues. After only 3 years of working at Uptown Records, he was unceremoniously fired. Anymore. On the surface, the reason was pretty simple. Diddy really believed in Biggie Smalls, but the rest of the label didn't. Uptown was known for fun music, and Biggie wasn't that. His music was dark, with themes of drug use and violence, and it was full of depressive reflections on his fucked up life. It was morbid stuff that just didn't work with the Uptown vibe. Despite the originality and the quality of his songs, the label tried to get him to change his tone, but ultimately, that wasn't the right move either. And so Diddy took Biggie and left Uptown forever. Later giving this kind of questionable explanation for his departure, he said, "I was very passionate and I didn't understand protocol or workplace politics, so I got fired because there can't be two kings in one castle." And that explanation implies kind of a different reason for leaving that wouldn't be explained for many years to come. Because while he did go on to find more success with his own ventures, at the same time, he left a strange trail of evidence behind him at Uptown Records. Years later, a woman named Pam Lewis Rudden, who worked as Diddy's assistant at Uptown, gave an account of what it was like to work with him during his time at the label. She said this: "He called me a bitch one too many times." She described a pattern of constant berating and humiliation that got to be enough where she eventually left the company entirely. But it wasn't even just that. She said, "It wasn't like you would be alone in a room with him and he would say it to you one-on-one. It would be in front of the whole office and all of the artists." And while Diddy being an abusive coworker at his first job might just be a footnote in the long list of things he's done, it shows exactly what kind of person he was early on. Disrespectful and self-centered, with no regard for the people around him. The early years of Diddy's career paint him as a businessman with a golden touch. The results of his work were glamorous. He had an unreal ability for artist development, curating sounds, strategizing promotion, and whatever else was needed to make records sell millions. Even more than that, though, he was charismatic. In a way that's rare for behind-the-scenes industry figures, Diddy himself became a celebrity. Even when he was in his early 20s, he was hosting parties that attracted countless music industry figures and created insanely lucrative connections. He was becoming an industry rock star, using his ear for music to launch himself into stardom, without making any music of his own. Especially when he was first getting started, his production style was pretty limited and simple, and a lot of critics seemed to be of the opinion that he wasn't very talented, relying too much on samples to be considered a great producer. But it didn't matter. He was a master at the art of getting attention. Simply put, he was good enough at his job that most people he came across were fine to look past what lurked underneath the surface. A cutthroat, vicious, possibly even manic desire for fame, power, and money. From his lies about the city college stampede that killed 9 people, to the mysterious disappearance of the charity money, the way he exposed Usher to inappropriate, possibly even traumatizing experiences at the age of 14, being impossible to work with at Uptown to the point of getting fired, and even abusing his employees at the label, in any sane world, one of those things would be enough to end someone's career. But Diddy was different. He was in a position where he was too important to be turned down. His connections, his talent for spotting artists, his ability to generate massive profits for the industry, it made him untouchable. The majority of people he came across weren't going to turn him down. Even if he was exploiting or mistreating them, he he had too much power to ignore. One of Diddy's most bizarre and sinister tactics early on was his strategy of inserting himself into every aspect of his artist's royalties. At Uptown, he not only used the artist he managed to boost his own image, but also involved himself in the creative process. By contributing a lyric, singing background vocals, or helping with production, he was securing royalties from multiple sources on one song. This meant that while he was helping the label rake in millions from sales, he was also personally profiting every time, often at the expense of the actual people making the music. And his approach ensured that he'd benefit financially from every angle, maximizing his earnings while potentially diminishing those of the actual clients themselves. It was clear from the early years of his career that Diddy would do anything and everything to make sure he was climbing as high as he could in the music industry, while getting paid as much as humanly possible. And as his influence grew, so did his immunity to consequences. The music industry, driven by the promise of hit records and financial success, was willing to overlook his true character, setting a dangerous precedent that would shape his career for years to come. But what came next pushed Diddy far over the edge, taking him from being an ambitious young figure in the business to being one of the biggest music executives of his generation, and possibly one of the most exploitative and evil figures the music industry ever saw. Biggie Smalls changed hip-hop history forever, and he had Diddy at his right hand the whole time. When Diddy left Uptown, largely because the label didn't embrace Biggie's music, he brought Biggie with him. When they finally got his debut album Ready to Die out to the public, it was a massive hit in every way. And within a year of his career getting started, he became one of the biggest rappers alive. Ready to Die was a hit with fans and critics. Beyond just selling extremely well, going gold less than 2 months after it dropped, critics gave it perfect reviews. People were calling it a smooth, dark, scary, and realistic autobiography of a drug dealer. At the time, it was nominated for Grammys, and even 25 years later, it's still considered one of the best rap albums ever made. And Biggie became a rap star overnight. The 1995 Rapper of the Year at the Billboard Music Awards, the new King of New York. He was getting love from critics and listeners. He was a guy who could win Grammys, do collaborations with Michael Jackson, and be a hard-hitting street rapper. And making a debut album that's an instant classic, that doesn't happen very often. Biggie was quickly becoming one of the most loved, most iconic rappers alive, and Diddy, his manager, producer, and the person who helped develop his persona, was right up there with him the whole time.
Yeah, Big was the man, bro. If there's any of y'all watching that weren't alive when Big was alive, let me just tell you, man, I'm from West Coast. He's East Coast. When I say they played his records, I forget which record, off Ready to Die. They play his records all day. Here on the West Coast too. I feel like the West, maybe some people didn't, but most people did fuck with him. For sure.
They were an inseparable part of each other's career and brands, but they burned out just as quickly as they got started. And in the wake of their complex relationship, the question persists: was Diddy truly Biggie's mentor and right-hand man, or the predator who ultimately caused his tragic death?
Damn.
Where
They're saying Diddy caused Big's death too. Come on, man.
his tragic downfall. The mystery remains unsolved to this day, because late one night in March of 1997, while Biggie was on a trip to Los Angeles to promote his second album, Life After Death, he was murdered in cold blood while his car sat at a red light on Wilshire Boulevard. Everybody was shocked, but at the same time, somehow they weren't, because Biggie and Diddy's insane rise to fame came with its own set of complications. In the mid-90s, the East Coast-West Coast hip-hop rivalry was intensifying quickly, and Biggie found himself at the center of it after the mysterious death of Tupac Shakur just a few months earlier. He was in a precarious position, being one of the most prominent figures in the rivalry. A lot of people felt that Tupac's death might have been related. Meanwhile, Diddy's aggressive business tactics and growing influence in the industry were also raising eyebrows. His partnership with Biggie, while incredibly successful, was also becoming increasingly complex and fraught with tension. As Biggie continued to rise, questions began to surface about the true nature of his relationship with Diddy, given the extent of Diddy's control over his career and finances. You see, Biggie gave Diddy a lot of credit for his career. Diddy wasn't just his agent. In a way, he had made his career possible. Biggie had been facing jail time before signing to Diddy, and then even after signing his record deal, he almost lost it all when the label didn't want him anymore. And Diddy brought him back from all of that. But even deeper, there are multiple videos where you can see Biggie being bizarrely physically intimate with Diddy in a way that looks like a lot more than brotherly love. It was known that Diddy owned 50% of the publishing rights for all of the artists on his label. It was also known through people that worked with both of them that Biggie was becoming unhappy with the split he was getting. A photographer that worked with...
They saying Big is with Diddy? Like with? Like we're laying the bed with? Oh my God, what the fuck? I never heard that one. I definitely heard he might have killed him. But they was having a relationship? Come on, don't say that. That's not real. Why is he touching his shoulder like that then? What the fuck? It's alright, man. It's 2024. This was in the 90s. Fucking shit. No, I'm just kidding. I don't give a damn, but it is kind of interesting because dudes really touching on each other.
Bad Boy at the time was interviewed by Rolling Stone and said this: Biggie was absolutely about to leave Diddy. I know for a fact because he told me that. Everybody wanted to leave Diddy. Everybody eventually leaves him. And that article went even further to describe a shocking lack of empathy from Diddy when he lost his closest collaborator and the star artist on his label. It says, when Biggie Smalls was shot and killed in March of 1997, Sean Combs reportedly took the situation and capitalized on the shock and sorrow. He denied the leave request of LaJoyce Brookshire, Bad Boy's publicity director who was traveling with Biggie the day before his death. Instead of letting her process her grief, he gave her the job of ensuring that Biggie's posthumous album, Life After Death, went #1 upon its release. And it didn't stop there. It got to the point where even Suge Knight, Tupac's former manager and a convicted killer, was disappointed by Diddy's heartlessness. A few months after the killing, Bad Boy was approached by Rolling Stone for a cover opportunity, one that Bad Boy co-founder and then president Kirk Burroughs suggested should go to Biggie. But Diddy said, no, he's dead. I'm putting out my own debut album, No Way Out, and I need to be on the cover of Rolling Stone. And ultimately, Diddy landed the cover of the August 1997 Rolling Stone issue. But that unsavory move was looked down upon by even Death Row Records' Suge Knight, who's known for his violent temper and is currently in jail for a manslaughter sentence. He said, when Tupac passed, I didn't pick up a microphone. I picked up the pieces. And while it's been difficult, if not impossible, to prove definitively, many people have argued over the years that Diddy had the motive, means, and opportunity to be responsible for killing Biggie. While Diddy had helped develop Biggie's career and mold his success, ultimately Biggie didn't need him. On the flip side though, Diddy needed Biggie. Without talent on his roster, he had no business. And so this dynamic led to intense speculation about his involvement in Biggie's murder. Multiple industry insiders have suggested that when Diddy caught wind of Biggie's potential departure for better deals elsewhere, he was willing to take drastic measures to maintain control. The most extreme theories about what happened to Biggie propose that Diddy orchestrated his murder to maintain control over his music catalog and continue profiting from his work indefinitely. And while it's not definitive, a lot of people have pointed out over the years that it doesn't make a lot of sense that they were both riding in two separate yet identical cars and only Biggie got shot at, with Diddy's car speeding away from the scene just before the shooting. It's difficult to imagine that one...
That's crazy.
To imagine that one of Biggie Smalls' supposed best friends, the person who discovered him and built up his career, could be behind his death. But it's a topic that's been talked about ever since. Eminem is just one person who's publicly accused Diddy of killing Biggie and Tupac for years, and even Tupac's family has said that they don't think Diddy was 100% honest in his connection to the killings. It's something that, while impossible to prove, kind of makes sense when viewed in the context of the rest of Diddy's career. The idea of him realizing that Biggie wanted to leave him and rather having him dead than making money for someone else isn't that hard to believe. But theories aside, the fact that people find it believable at all, great potential. Literally one of the greatest rappers of all time, but he seemingly failed to safeguard that talent. And when his supposed close friend and top client was brutally gunned down, Diddy's actions were more focused on self-glorification and protecting his own interests and profit than on honoring Biggie's legacy. And ultimately, one of hip-hop's greatest voices ever was silenced at the age of 24, robbing the world of his artistic potential, while Diddy didn't really seem to care much at all. Shortly after the death of Biggie, Diddy embarked on a music career of his own. The guy who had spent years behind the scenes was now going to pick up a mic. And just 4 months after Biggie passed, he released his first album, No Way Out. It did debut at #1 on the Billboard charts, selling 500,000 units in a week, but it was monumentally bad. Despite having all the connections in the world to get features from Jay-Z, Lil Kim, Busta Rhymes, Maze, and even 4 posthumous verses from Biggie's archives, No Way Out still managed to be an absolutely horrible album. The only songs that charted at all were the ones featuring Biggie. No one wanted to hear Diddy's rapping. And now, on Spotify, 27 years later, the song featuring other artists have 50, 60, or 70 million plays. But the ones with Diddy alone, less than 1 million each. While Diddy had presented the album as a kind of heartbroken inner reflection after the death of his close friend, saying that the violence took a toll on him and left him traumatized, it didn't quite come off that way in reality when he started making music just a few months later. And looking at reviews of the album online, it's pretty easy to figure out how most people feel about Diddy's rapping career. Puff Daddy was a
Yeah, but just because he started making music 3 months after, everybody grieves different, you know. I think Kendrick Lamar said that. I grieve different.
Originally a great producer with the Notorious B.I.G., but as a solo artist, yikes. Or he just isn't an interesting enough MC and nobody is buying his tales of shooting his rivals. Biggie or Black Rob or someone else obviously wrote this for him, but they would have been better served to keep it for themselves. One person wrote, Puff Daddy's first album was excellent, but only when Puff Daddy isn't on the track. Or, okay, this album is just a total piece of shit. It does have 3 great songs like Victory, Young G's, and All About the Benjamins, but what these 3 tracks all have in common is that they feature Biggie. It shows that without Biggie, Puffy ain't worth shit. His rapping is really, really awful. He's one of the worst rappers ever and has absolutely no skills, no flow, no emotion, and nothing to make him special. I think my favorite review says, let's get this out of the way. Puff Daddy is not a good MC, even when he's rapping lyrics written by someone else. He sounds like a chump on the mic. But luckily he has a golden ear and is surrounded by talented musicians who make even his shittiest raps sound expensive and cinematic. He also surrounds himself with some of the best MCs of the time, Biggie Smalls, Jadakiss, Busta Rhymes, and he allows them to do a lot of the heavy lifting. This was a mega smash album, but revisiting it, one might be surprised at how much of a downer it is. And finally, Diddy couldn't write his name, let alone a song. No Way Out was bad enough that a lot of people said Diddy's popularity at the time signified the end of the golden age of rap. He was bad enough that his presence brought down the entire genre. Even worse, not only were his albums laughably corny and lame, it was an open secret that none of the material he ever rapped was actually his. Diddy almost exclusively used ghostwriters. It wasn't even worth trying to hide that someone like Diddy, a rich and powerful manager, agent, and executive, would be incapable of writing authentic lyrics. He went to private school, got a corporate job at 20 years old, and made millions off of other artists' catalogs before he ever recorded a song. No one was ever going to see Diddy as a real rapper. The list of rappers who've been confirmed to write for Diddy over the years is long, from artists on his label like Biggie and Maze to 50 Cent, Drake, J. Cole, Jadakiss, Jay-Z, Nas. Diddy spent years and probably millions of dollars buying raps from some of the greatest artists of his generation. But he was never one of them. Even from the start of his recording career, he was exploiting the people around him so he could have his own moment of fame, ultimately playing the entrepreneur rather than actually making art. In total, Diddy made 5 albums. While almost all of them debuted at #1 on the Billboard charts, each one of them was worse than the last, carried only by features and production, with Diddy himself somehow failing to create any music of any value across a 7+ year recording career. His albums are similar in format to what DJ Khaled does, but instead of playing the part of a goofy side character, Diddy made the mistake of actually shoving himself in everyone's face as if he had done anything at all, when ultimately he hadn't. Even with multiple #1 albums to his name, he didn't create anything worth remembering, and Diddy's rap career has been almost entirely forgotten, overshadowed by his greedy business practices and, later on, the monstrously evil actions in his personal life. And so, Diddy's brief stint pretending he could rap became emblematic of his whole philosophy: selfish, narcissistic exploitation. His so-called solo albums, written and performed mostly by better artists, exist in the same spirit as him giving himself royalties off the artists on the label he worked at.
Damn, he's giving himself royalties off the labels. Bro, Diddy is a fucking monster. Get out of here, Diddy. Get out of here. Get out of here, Diddy. Get out of here. Get out of here. That's the indoor California.
This pattern of exploitation and self-promotion defined his trajectory in the music industry and beyond. Despite how bad these albums really were, they only continued to make him more and more money. And his ability to market himself.
You know, it's crazy. It's easy to say what the narrator's saying from this point of view, from now, right now. But back then, you don't know what was going on. So you have to keep that in mind.
And capitalize on the talent.
We do know Diddy is fucking weird and limber. Motherfucker moves. And that's usually a hint of something, so.
Of other people, even when his own abilities fell short, would become the hallmark of his entire career. Another shock.
If you're selling a product.
Yo, man, appreciate you guys out there. If you like, could you please hit the like and subscribe? If you want to help out even more, just hit the Cash App, 432 Jasper. I'm Jasper, and we're going to get back into it.
City from his home country of Belize as a kid, and he quickly fell in love with hip-hop. Within a few years of freestyling around town, getting better and better while he worked as a bicycle messenger in Manhattan, his talent was noticed by a local producer. In 1998, at the age of 20, he was introduced to Diddy, who signed him to Bad Boy Records on the spot, giving him $2 million, 3 cars, and a house in exchange for a 5-album deal. Shine getting signed to Bad Boy caused a media shockwave. He became a star overnight, going from sleeping on his mom's couch in Brooklyn to living in Beverly Hills in literally a matter of weeks. But he would only be able to enjoy that newfound success for a short time, until Diddy would literally destroy his life. After about a year in the limelight, doing features for other Bad Boy rappers, being called the next Biggie Smalls, playing shows, and working on his debut record, it all came crashing down on December 27, 1999. Shine was with Diddy at a club in Times Square when another patron started an argument with him, and at the same time pulled out a gun and threatened to kill Shine. The story goes that Diddy, Diddy's bodyguard, and Shine all drew guns, and that Shine himself shot his gun 3 times in the packed club. And while no one was killed, 3 people were seriously injured. Shine, Diddy, and Diddy's bodyguard were promptly all charged with crimes. But when the trial began, Diddy confusingly hired a different lawyer for himself and his bodyguard than for the 20-year-old artist he had just signed to his label for millions of dollars. Shine himself insisted that he hadn't shot anyone at all, only fired into the air and not towards any bystanders. When a ballistics expert came to the witness stand and revealed that the injuries at the site were caused by a .40 caliber weapon, not the 9mm like Shine had on him, it only got even more confusing. There were even witnesses, victims of the shooting, that said they directly saw Diddy was the person who shot them. One person said, "I saw Mr. Combs pull out a black gun with his right hand, and I literally watched them pull out the guns. I had a clear point of view. For God's sake, I got shot in my nose. I watched everything occur and have described it vehemently to all parties involved." Diddy, meanwhile, testified that he didn't even have a gun on him that night. And eventually, after a 7-week trial, his lawyer got him and his bodyguard acquitted on all counts. But Shine wasn't so lucky. After the trial, he was convicted by a jury of reckless endangerment, assault, and possession of an illegal weapon. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison, without eligibility for parole, and he served 9 years in a maximum security facility in upstate New York. After a decade in prison, he returned to his home country and became a high-ranking politician in the House of Representatives, working to strengthen the justice and education systems in Belize, and he's currently running to be Belize's next prime minister. Speaking on Diddy in 2024, he said this: "On Thursday, Shine forgave Combs and moved on. He acknowledged that he was trying to see if Combs would invest some money in Belize and the country's education system. But he also said, 'Let us not forget what the cold, hard facts are. This is someone who destroyed my life.'" More than anything, the story of Shine's rap career confirms that Diddy only ever saw the artists on his label as resources to make money off of. Over and over again, the young people he signed and was supposed to protect and help and mentor were nothing but a source of income that he could throw away if he needed to. Instead of protecting Shine, a 20-year-old kid who came from another country to chase his dreams, he called witnesses to testify against him and hired a different lawyer to protect him. Shine's mother wrote this: Puffy has the same responsibility as a teacher or a coach. Shine was out with his idol on that fateful night. When I put my child in your hands, I don't expect him to end up dead or in jail. And ultimately, Diddy's treatment of Shine reveals who he really is, a morally bankrupt person. By abandoning a young artist who he had a business relationship with and who looked up to him and who he was supposed to mentor and protect, he showed a callous disregard for the people around him. He would rather hang Shine out to dry than give up on his own pursuit for power and wealth. And even though this incident is often overlooked and forgotten, it exemplifies the pattern of exploitation that defines Diddy's career. The fact that this betrayal is now just a footnote in his history, it says a lot about the extent of just how evil he was. It's a tangible reminder of the human suffering that's often behind his empire. His willingness to sacrifice other people, even people who were under his guidance, it underscores an evil that was a constant in his rise to fame and fortune. By the time the late 2000s rolled around, Diddy's music career had started to fizzle out, and his second, third, and fourth albums were genuinely horrible. Trying to replace a total lack of creativity with paid features can only get you so far, and eventually, he just moved on to other things. Around the same time, Bad Boy Records also started flopping. A lot of its top artists became inactive for one reason or another. From Maze retiring from music and leaving the label to go pursue Christianity after just 2 albums, to Shine's prison sentence, to a lack of posthumous material from Biggie, to the horrible failure of Diddy's own albums, by the year 2000, Bad Boy wasn't even able to generate enough revenue to pay back the $50 million advance they were given by their parent company. Essentially, Diddy's career as a music executive didn't go all that great. Most of the artists he worked with didn't stick around him for long. For one reason or another, they all left. Even the ones he didn't get killed or sent to jail. He had already become one of the most powerful people in music, mostly from taking a cut of so many different artists' catalogs that he had amassed more wealth than any one person he ever worked with, probably more than all of them combined. When it was still doing well, Bad Boy Records was worth over $100 million. He had built up some of the biggest rappers of his generation, but still, he couldn't keep it afloat. Because while Diddy was good with people, a natural-born celebrity, host, master of networking, deep down, he really wasn't. Past a certain point, almost everyone who was signed with him just left. Even Black Rob, whose career was one of Bad Boy's few success stories after 2000, eventually flopped under Diddy's leadership and went to prison and died homeless on the streets of New York.
Wow. That's fucking wild, dude. Diddy's crazy, bro. Diddy deserves all.
And life just one more example of Diddy sucking the value out of an artist and then leaving them for dead. You see, sociopathic and psychopathic personalities are often associated with success. A lack of self-awareness and empathy can make you really ambitious in business and entrepreneurship and other fields, and Diddy himself is the perfect example. A shiny, luxurious exterior, but a personality that made him impossible to work with. And so as the years went on, once a powerhouse worth over $100 million, his record label ended up faltering under his leadership. Artists and employees had to distance themselves or have their lives ruined due to his selfish, incompetent leadership. Meanwhile, he's keeping up appearances of being a big, important, influential player in the music industry, mainly by prioritizing his own profit over anyone else's well-being. The contrast and tension between Diddy's charismatic public persona and his behind-the-scenes mismanagement ultimately contributed to Bad Boy Records' fatal decline. And it also exposed his inability to build long-term personal relationships that are crucial for real success in the music industry. But even though his empire was starting to fall, it didn't really matter for Diddy. He had spent years making sure that he wasn't going to feel any effects at all. I mean, we've talked endlessly about how he leached off his artists' royalties, made himself part of their branding, and in that way, it really worked in his favor. Even as Bad Boy became less relevant in the mid-2000s, Diddy himself only became more and more popular. He may have been a music executive, normally a behind-the-scenes job, but he had been putting himself in the limelight for so long, even as a horrible rapper no one liked, that he was pretty much impossible to ignore. You see, Diddy had always loved parties. I mean, that's pretty much what he was known for. At a certain point, people knew more about Diddy's parties than they did about his songs. It was how he built his network, made connections, and did business. In the 2000s, he was infamous for his white parties. Years before the accusations that made him a target of the Department of Homeland Security, an invitation to one of Diddy's white parties was coveted. Everyone from Anna Wintour to Donald Trump to Kim Kardashian wanted to go to a Diddy party. His parties were covered in the tabloids. They were known around the world as a cultural phenomenon of Hollywood. One journalist once wrote that the invite list at a Diddy party was second only to the...
So if you think about it, he was probably getting all the new artists every year. So I mean, there's pictures. They have pictures of every celebrity pretty much. You know, because when you get up to the top of the pyramid, and, you know, of the Hollywood actors, there's only a few elite ones. At least, you know, a few handfuls. And if they're going there every year to Diddy's party because it was Diddy's party, the wild parties, that means that everybody's in that. Everybody has been to a Diddy party then. That's crazy, not me.
Invite list at the Met Gala. From The Hollywood Reporter, it says, ranked by Forbes magazine as one of the world's hottest parties, Diddy's famed white parties, with their custom furniture, monogrammed dance floors, thousands of lights, acrobats, fire dancers, mermaids in the pool, abundance of lobster and steak, and weed brownies and silver platters, started to cost $1 million per party by the mid-2000s. It was more than just a party. It was a defining moment in the world of celebrities, and there hasn't been anything like it since. It was so intricately designed that anyone who was anyone felt like they had to get in. The article said, if you weren't there, you weren't relevant. Actors from the biggest films and television shows clamored for invites. NBA and NFL stars hounded their managers for hookups. Wall Street honchos tried and failed to buy their way in. But even when they were on the list, people could be turned away at the door if their clothes weren't right. We worked on our outfits for days before going to a Diddy party, because you had to come correct. As it turned out, though, there was yet another dark secret underneath the glamorous surface of Diddy's parties. And this is years before Diddy was ever charged for his complex series of sex crimes by the Department of Homeland Security. But rumors about the true purpose of Diddy's parties were starting to go around in industry circles. It was suggested that the glamorous events were more than just social gatherings, but rather carefully orchestrated cover-ups for Diddy's sinister, abusive lifestyle. All of this was around the time that Diddy's star power had become big enough that he could kind of just do whatever. Pretty much like an Oprah or Ellen figure who's famous for just being famous. His own clothing brand, Sean John, had attracted hundreds of millions of dollars of investments, and he was also receiving 50% of the profits from the vodka brand Ciroc, which reportedly made over $60 million per year while he was involved with the company. Although in 2023, he was removed from Ciroc for failing to honor his marketing commitments.
Interesting.
Marketing commitments. Along the way, he became the third figure in hip-hop history to ever be worth $1 billion. But by the time that happened, no one really saw him as an aspirational figure anymore. With all the messed up stuff he had been known to do over the years, painting a darker and weirder picture over time, at this point, most people seemed to see him as an exploitative, narcissistic, and strange person at the very least. At the same time as he became more and more known and more wealthy, it was all starting to slowly unravel. His endorsement deals and investments were making him ridiculously rich, wealthier than 99.99% of people in the music industry, but Diddy's reputation was just getting more and more strange. In the early 2010s, Diddy had a high-profile friendship with Justin Bieber, who at the time was becoming the most popular male singer in the world while he was still a teenager. And the details of what really happened between Diddy and Justin aren't known, but it's still one of the most insidious things Diddy has ever been caught doing, ever. Back when Justin Bieber first got into the music industry around the age of 15, his rise to fame was explosive. Not long after he got into the spotlight, he found himself surrounded by Diddy and his crew, with some moments being well known and highly publicized, while others are all but forgotten, despite being just as ominous and strange. We've all seen the video of Diddy saying he was going to do a 48-hour sleepover with Justin, talking about how he can't disclose what they were going to do, while Justin just kind of stares blankly.
Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old.
Another strange video is of Diddy pressing Justin for not hanging out with him enough the way he used to, leaving Justin totally flabbergasted and stuttering. But probably the weirdest clip of all comes from a Jimmy Kimmel live interview they both did. It's now been completely deleted from YouTube, but at a certain point Jimmy Kimmel makes this joke about Diddy gifting Justin a Lamborghini, and Justin says, "Oh, I didn't get the Lambo yet," which leads to probably the scariest and most revealing clip of Diddy that exists online. Diddy replies, he knows better than to be talking about the things he does with Big Brother Puff on national TV, literally telling on himself in front of millions of people.
Access to the house, and he knows better than to be talking about the things that he does with Big Brother Puff on national television.
And while Justin Bieber has never commented directly on his relationship with Diddy, tabloids have continuously speculated on what he may have been exposed to while spending time with him as a kid. In 2016, Diddy officially retired from music, saying he was going to work on other projects, even though he hadn't really made anything in years anyway. But by that point, he was kind of a mainstay celebrity regardless. Though by now, despite his billionaire net worth and household name, people had largely caught on to him being a scumbag in one way or another. At a certain point, a lot of the rumors were starting to overpower the narrative he had crafted. Still, though, he stayed an unavoidable presence, pushing forward on his quest for more fame, more clout, and more attention, despite the rumors and whispers that only got louder as the years went on. And then suddenly, it all came crashing down when Cassie Ventura, an R&B singer that Diddy dated for over 10 years, starting when she was 19 and he was 37, filed a 35-page lawsuit against him in November of 2023. The lawsuit went deeper than ever before into the specifics of Diddy's lifestyle, his choices and behaviors, throwing aside the rumors to give highly specific details revealing his true nature. It was the nail in the coffin. Diddy had long been known as an exploitative, selfish, narcissistic businessman who had no problem cheating or stealing even from his own clients, but now, somehow, an even deeper layer of evil was being revealed. Once those papers were filed, it would only be another 3 months before the Department of Homeland Security, a U.S. federal agency usually reserved for border security and anti-terrorism, raided 3 of Diddy's homes and seized 96 electronic devices for evidence in the process. And after that, it would only be a few more months before they arrested him, charging him with 3 felonies: racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. On the Department of Homeland Security's official agency website, they wrote this: "From at least 2008 through the present, Combs has led a criminal enterprise that existed to facilitate his abuse and exploitation of women, to protect his reputation, and to conceal his conduct. As part of that criminal enterprise, Sean Combs, along with other members and associates, committed crimes including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Combs' efforts to control women included repeated physical abuse. Combs assaulted women by, among other things, punching, striking, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. And he similarly assaulted witnesses of his abuse. These assaults often resulted in injuries which could take days or weeks to heal. And to commit these crimes, Combs relied on his power as the leader of a multifaceted business empire. Employees of Combs' businesses, including high-ranking supervisors, security, personal assistants, and household staff, acted as intermediaries to, among other things, arrange travel and hotel rooms, stock the hotel rooms, contact or locate women or other individuals who he targeted for abuse, and to cover up and conceal the abuse. This criminal concealment included efforts to prevent law enforcement from hearing about it." And so, as it turned out, all of the horrible things Diddy was known to have done throughout his life were only the tip of the iceberg. Exploiting the clients at his record labels, lying on the name of almost a dozen fatalities at a concert, hoarding the royalties, letting his artists suffer while he got rich, letting his 19-year-old client take the fall for a crime he committed, grooming and taking advantage of young artists like Usher and Justin Bieber while they were in high school, among countless other acts of narcissism and selfishness and predatory behavior. All of that alone is enough to make Diddy one of the most awful people in the history of entertainment. But what would be uncovered across the span of 2024 would be a whole other level of pathological evil, almost unmatched by any other public figures in modern history. In most videos like this, it will be time to consider that Diddy might be a product of his circumstances. And the truth about Diddy is that it's fairly likely he is a product of his circumstances. Growing up in Harlem with a drug trafficking father who was murdered when he was 2, living in impoverished conditions as a kid, being an altar boy, and going to a school known for sex abuse against students, all of these factors could go into contributing to the development of psychological issues and abusive behaviors later in life. We talked a lot about how Diddy was raised and what type of things he would have been exposed to as a kid. Rumors have gone around for years that his mother was an escort that made him go along with her to clients when he was a small child, or even worse. And just a few weeks ago, she made a statement after Diddy was arrested that comes across as not much more than plain evil, completely enabling her son's actions. She wrote things like, "This seems to be a public lynching of my son before he has the opportunity to prove his innocence. He has made mistakes in his past. She spent an entire paragraph reflecting on the idea of wrongful convictions before some of the most self-righteous, ridiculous phrases I've ever heard. Watching the world make jokes and laugh at my son's life crumbling before our eyes is something I can never forget. It's agonizing to watch the world turn against my son so quickly and easily over lies, without ever affording him the opportunity to present his side. These lies thrown at him are motivated by those seeking financial gain, not justice. This injustice has been unbearable for our family. My son is not the monster they painted him to be. I can only pray that I am alive to see him speak his truth and be vindicated. In a similar way, a post just recently went up on his Instagram for the first time since he was arrested, wishing his daughter Love a happy second birthday. No mention of the world crumbling around them, just a kind of ominous feeling "Daddy loves you" caption alongside some nice professional photos. Maniacally continuing to pretend everything is okay as if his mask wasn't ripped off in front of the whole world, it just kind of makes it worse. But regardless of whether or not Diddy's family takes his side and is just as morally bankrupt as he is, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Diddy made his choices. Diddy intentionally built a music empire based on exploiting people artistically, sexually, financially, and otherwise. This isn't one of those true crime stories where the person who committed a terrible offense can be looked at as a kind of sympathetic character because they only got that way from being abused or mistreated. Diddy intentionally spent his entire adult life preying on other people, taking advantage of people, and worst of all, literally torturing and abusing people. There's stuff that's coming out about him that's so disgusting it doesn't even sound real. He built a literal evil empire in the shadows of his fake, shiny, weird career that no one even enjoyed to begin with. I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, there are countless other controversial or just plain horrible things he's done throughout his life. One example that I didn't get to cover is Maze, one of Bad Boy's star artists and a legendary rapper who straight up left the music industry in the middle of his peak to pursue Christianity, later talking about how he had to escape Diddy. His story only adds to the long list of Bad Boy Records artists who had to leave the industry to get away from Diddy. There's even more though. In 1995, he was at the scene of and accused of being involved with a shooting that killed Jake Robles, a bodyguard from Death Row Records. He also brutally attacked Nas's manager in 1998. When he was included in a video that he deemed sacrilegious, Diddy stormed into the label's office and broke his arm and jaw. Even more recently, stories have gone around about him getting into a shoving match with J. Cole, punching Drake over feeling disrespected about a beat he wanted to use, and he was even accused of physically abusing an ex as far back as 2018. And so, circumstances might and probably do explain a lot of Diddy's behaviors, but they don't excuse them. In fact, the way that Diddy has moved his whole career, it puts him on a whole other level. Because even if Diddy was never exposed for doing what he did to the people in his personal life, the track record left behind in his career is horrifying. It paints a picture of someone who never did anything for any reason but to benefit himself, wanting nothing more than to look like a perfect hero who couldn't do any wrong, and pathologically sticking to that even if he had to ruin someone else's life in the process. That's not to say he wasn't good at what he did. Diddy only got to be so evil because he was clever first. He helped develop countless artists that made an impact in hip-hop and R&B history, some of which are still considered the best of their generations. He stands behind a long list of hit albums and songs, being basically born with a golden ear for music despite no formal training. He leveraged his ability for spotting musical talent to build his own level of celebrity, which turned into a vast empire spanning music, media, fashion. Despite his evil character, Diddy's talent in business was undeniable. That's how he got away with what he got away with for so long. With so many successful ventures like Bad Boy Records, Sean John Clothing, Ciroc Vodka, Revolt Media, among others, his business strategy catapulted him to become one of the wealthiest figures in hip-hop history, with a net worth that at one point exceeded $1 billion, making him one of the richest people to ever come out of rap. He even became a household name practically just off his charismatic persona alone. In the 2000s, people may not have liked his music, but they definitely knew his name. Ultimately, though, it was all for nothing. Despite having so many accolades, so much money in the bank, it was all a facade that the majority of people saw right through the whole time. In the strange way that psychopathic people can often be, a lot of what Diddy was able to achieve crumbled to dust with a profound sense of emptiness. Despite being highly ambitious and successful, most of what he did didn't add up to much. Looking at his list of ventures and businesses, he worked his way up to a high position at Uptown, but he left behind a legacy of nothing but abusing employees and leeching publishing rights off his artists. He built his own nationally known $100 million record label, but almost every single artist he ever signed either turned their back on him, ended up in jail, or even died. The label eventually ended up pretty much defunct. His clothing and fragrance lines seemed to have high valuation, but they made little to no impact in the world of fashion, and they're now pretty much forgotten. He made multiple albums, but literally never wrote his own verses and received horrible reviews from critics. And he was open about using ghostwriters, pretty much naming himself as the least authentic rapper in the industry. In a world of Kanye Wests and Jay-Z's, hip-hop moguls whose music, designs, and cultural impact is tangible and remembered and understood, Diddy was always a bit flat. No one remembers his music, his clothes weren't memorable, and even his own artists didn't stick around to do business with him. Diddy's success was ultimately hollow. Despite his lifelong, desperate attempts to make himself into something, he was, at the end of the day, still nothing. The only lasting legacy of the 30 years he was in the public eye before being arrested was that he was an honestly strange, intimidating, weird person. In my mind, the lack of depth that defines his career is just one more piece of evidence for the monster hiding under the mask. It shows that he never really cared at all. It was a quest for power and control over his colleagues, his rivals, his clients. It was all about ego, pride, and narcissism. And while he did do some horrible things in that context, leaving behind a billion-dollar trail of exploitation, the true, terrible evil was still hidden all along. Until now, when it's finally been revealed. The history of Diddy's career, deep diving into what kind of person he's always been, and showing the history of his behavior is the most insane task to undertake. Even before getting to his sex trafficking empire, it's nonstop, one after the other, fucking people over. And when I was making this documentary, I realized pretty quickly that it would be better to split it into 2 parts, because somehow the second part was going to be even more dark and graphic than this was. I'm currently in the process of getting that approved by YouTube to make sure it doesn't get taken down, because this is a story that needs to be told. It's the craziest video I've ever made, and I spent weeks deep diving into court documents, books, newspaper articles, and more, and I think it's a really unique look at one of the most wild things that's ever happened in the history of music. So I don't want it to not reach its full potential. In the meantime, when it comes out, it's going to be available on Nebula first once I'm done. Nebula is a streaming service I co-founded with a large group of other creators. There are exclusive Nebula originals like my documentary Danger Music that dives deep into the history of violent and controversial music artists, or The Ballad of John and Yoko, a film by Lindsay Ellis that explores the untold secrets of the relationship between John Lennon and Yoko Ono. There are tons of channels like mine on Nebula too, like FD Signifier, Adam Neely, Polyphonic, really some of the greatest YouTubers around, and all of their videos are completely ad-free and uncensored. Nebula is available for 40% off just for my viewers, with the link nebula.tv/Volksgeist at $3 per month on the yearly plan or $6 per month on the monthly side. There's a ton of great stuff on there, but most importantly, I want to say thank you for all the support you give, which makes this channel possible. And once again, go check
The names have finally been made public in the Diddy lawsuit, and they're nothing less than shocking. Aaron Hall, former member of R&B group Guy, and Harve Pierre, a Bad Boy Records executive, are both facing serious accusations. Pierre involving a minor. Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Coram, is accused of aiding and covering up his actions. Cuba Gooding Jr., already involved in multiple legal battles, now faces fresh accusations of unsolicited touching, this time a man. Jacob Arabov, Jacob the Jeweler, is alleged to have indulged in Diddy's notorious human party favors, while former bodyguard Joseph Sherman faces battery along with other disturbing charges. Devontae Swing of Jodeci is accused of supplying and trafficking an artist. Perhaps most shocking, Diddy's sons, Justin Dior and Christian Combs, are also implicated, suggesting this scandal is a family affair. Although the story's still developing, the shocking fall from grace continues as the names have finally been made public in the Diddy lawsuit, and they're nothing less than shocking. Aaron Hall, former member of R&B group Guy, and Harve...
I'm a veteran, cause bitch, I'm better than the Mountain Dew. And off in the Moby, think about Kobe rocking that 2-4. Smith and Wesson, if he think about...
I went with Joey for that fight. He's not fucking tremendous. He's one of a kind.
TikTok has this feature where you can see who's viewed your profile, but they don't follow you.
How not to pay off your credit cards.
How not to pay off your credit cards. Yo, if y'all out there, I appreciate y'all watching. If you can hit the like and subscribe, man, maybe throw a couple bucks in the Cash App. We get the bills paid, get you this content, you feel me? Any donation that's made, we appreciate you. then we will throw your name up on the video. So yeah, man. Oh, let's get into it. What happened?
That are work with your creditors to lower what you owe. Makes sense. So how long would it take?
Straight Facts Podcast, your boy Big Homie CC. We got Jaguar right here today with us. And we got Jag, my boy. Last topic of the day, the election. We got Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, Democrats, Republicans, neck and neck right now. What's y'all thoughts on the current election right now, the current political climate?
Fake ass bitch, fake ass nigga, you just gotta pick which fake you wanna roll with. For real, both of them are gonna lie and say what they're gonna say and do what they need to do for you to vote. I don't vote personally because black people votes don't matter in America. I hope people understand that. The faster we understand that, we can move towards something else because that ain't it. Our votes don't matter to these people. It's it's something bigger than us. You get what I'm saying? They use that to make us feel like we involved in something. They use that as a plot back in the days when we were slaves and all that. You know what I'm saying? Make black people feel like they're involved in something. So tell them they can vote. Yeah. But the vote don't matter when it get to the man. You get what I'm saying? The man gonna make the choice. So whatever the case may be, hey, y'all want to vote? Do your thing. Whoever you voting for, I ain't voting, but both of them gonna fuck some shit up. So just prepare yourself and strap up and be ready for whatever gonna happen because it's gonna be a wild ride. Either way it go, her or him, wild ride.
Understood.
Well,
let's get it.
Everybody knows that I ride for the truth real heavy, even when it's uncomfortable. We have two candidates that both have a history of lying. This is my thing. One of them is actually telling the truth about what's about to happen next, and the other one is lying. If you have two people that you don't trust the person that cares about what's happening with your future next. Kamala Harris is promising things that cannot be accomplished in her term or any other.
Really?
More importantly than that, she's been in the White House. That's helped perpetuate the problems that we have now with a man who whose eyes get stuck and he doesn't stop shaking the air.
Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, you know. So what I'll say is this. I ain't vote for no lying ass bitch. Period. We got enough lying ass bitches. And especially not a bitch that's lying about being a black bitch. Because I've never met a Jamaican that wants to be a nigga.
Come on now.
And I've never met a nigga that makes collard greens in their bathtub.
Bubba, come on.
And worse than that, I've never met a woman that thought Montel Williams was sexy enough to have sex with. That was clearly a career move.
That's great. He just called him straight.
So let's just be clear.
A real straight.
A lying ass bitch is a lying ass bitch. For the men, I want you to think about every time your baby mom lied to you and it pissed you off. That's Kamala. For the women, I want you to think about every man that told you your voice was gonna matter. That's Kamala.
Facts.
And guess what? There's two African Americans that are running for president. Dr. Cornel West and Dr. Melina Abdullah from Black Lives Matter, and no black person is talking about voting for them. And that's really all I got to say about that.
Well put.
Picture this. You're sitting at home alone watching YouTube videos, wondering why you can't find the motivation to do the things you need or want to do or change in the ways you'd like. Even thinking about your mental health and all.
Well put. I like the way y'all broke it down.
Jags.
All right, for sure.
Jag Nation.
Yeah,
Jag Nation. Be a Jaguar.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to list a series of facts. Throughout this current administration, and everything I'm about to say, we'll put links to this information in the description. so anybody can fact check what I'm going to say right now. There have been 13,000 people convicted of murder that have been allowed across the border and are living here in America right now in an undetained status.
It's more now.
Over 600 people on the terrorist watch list have been let into the country and living on undetained status. Over 40,000 war-age Chinese nationals have entered the country, crossed the border. When they get to the border, they're dropping their identification. They're dropping their instruction pamphlet on who to talk to and where to go when they get across the border. We have seen cargo ships crashing into bridges. We have seen AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon cell towers go out for days at a time. We have seen a Chinese spy balloon cross over into our airspace without being shot down for days. There are over 150,000 unaccounted for children that have crossed the border each year. Human trafficking is the largest and most profitable.
Wow, what?
We've seen the guy.
That's crazy.
People focus on select.
He just said human trafficking is the most. That's fucking sick, dude. What the fuck? That shit's real, man. Can't believe that shit. People talk about it, but it's going on. It's really going on out there.
Celebrities with the human trafficking situation. In America, law enforcement's human trafficking divisions is a small group of people. So that's why once we seen Diddy get arrested, we seen the guy Reeves, we seen the people at Disney, we seen all of this happening because of this election, the FBI has been at risk of getting disbanded. We seen the mayor of New York also get indicted for being disbanded. Kamala Harris is currently in the White House. She made a statement saying, we're not going to pass bills just for black people. But she did it for Asians, and she did it for immigrants. What we're watching right now is a situation where our government needs to be shrunk down. The only way that happens is if the Republicans get into office. Elon Musk is pledging $45 million a month to Donald Trump's campaign. His plan is to create a breakaway civilization on Mars. What is the state of humanity if one of the richest men wants to leave the planet? Okay.
I want to go with Johnny.
So, there has been an initiative to ban abortions. The reason this initiative is happening because human birth rates are on the verge of collapse. People of European descent birth rates are the lowest they have been ever in history. You must pay attention to everything that's going on. Donald Trump came out and said he would declassify the JFK files. He said he would declassify the UFO files. He said he's afraid they're going to try to kill him if he does so. Once he did that, there have been several attempts on his life.
And it got upstaged by 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Right. Now, peep this.
While the Secret Service was sleeping on the job.
Now, I'm glad you said that. When JFK was assassinated, the day before, they swapped out his entire Secret Service team. The same thing happened to Donald Trump. The U.S. government came out and acknowledged that UFOs are real. That means what? The technology exists and has been reverse engineered.
We are not alone.
Trump's family, his uncle, is in possession of the Tesla files. Now Elon knows that back engineered technology exists. Trump knows it exists. They want to get their hands on it. In order for them to get their hands on it, they must come into power and they can pass off those contracts to their friends and their companies. I'm going to end it with this. In our current political space, there is an initiative to replace a group of people who did not go back to work after the pandemic. Them bringing an influx of migrants all to swing states means if they give them legal status, the red states turn blue. There's a concern about Trump's 2025 plan. This is spookism. In order for him to bypass the Constitution, it has to get approved by Congress. So everyone that's afraid about this man's plan, this is the only president we've ever seen let out black people. This is the only president we have ever seen come with a platinum plan for African American communities. You should not make an emotional choice. Look at the facts. We're going to post the links, fact check everything I've said. And thank y'all for tuning in for the Straight Facts Podcast.
Hide your cats, hide your dogs. Vote Trump if you want to keep your pets safe.
I'm your boy Jag. You can reach me on IG at JAG and on X at South Central Jag.
My name is Jaguar Wright. All you got to do is put the name in, you'll find me. But if you really want to know what I got going on, just go to thejaguarwright.com and that'll put you in the know. And I meant what I said. Hide your cats and hide your dogs.
It's your boy Big Homie CC. You can find me on Instagram at bighomie.cc. Shout out to Look Who Studios. Thanks to Jaguar Wright for pulling up. My brother Jag, we back again, and we'll catch y'all next time.
Hide your cats, hide your dogs. Ooh. They eating them niggas.
What's up? This is Cam Capone. We got more content like this coming soon. So hit that like button, subscribe, and stay locked in to Cam Capone News.
Trabajando.
Have now become clear enemies of the Trump administration. Ain't nobody getting no part in it.
Real life.
It ain't real life. Real life street star. You know what time it is.
Do you think it's true when people say, oh, Diddy will never be fully exposed because there's too many huge names involved in the mix?
Oh, I agree. That don't matter. We get enough of them.
Will he make it out alive, Jack?
There's a young woman by the name of Andrea right now doing interviews, suggesting that she was tipped off by someone within inside the feds who said they saw her on some of the evidence seized. They said she was sedated, and they said she was being essayed by multiple men at the same time, which we know is called a train. And she tried to elude that allegedly our 47th president-elect was involved somehow. Do I know if that's true or not? I do not know. But I tell you what I do know. If they try to attach Trump to any of this freak-out foolishness, they are as good as dead anyway.
Jack, you almost, I don't know how you know this stuff, but you be knowing the future. You just know everything. Where does this Diddy trial go? What happens? Can you tell us what you think?
It's a RICO. And all those freak-off attendees who endorsed Kamala Harris have now become clear enemies of the Trump administration. Ain't nobody getting no part in it. Diddy about to get some company. And with Trump's new agenda to shut down government funded trans, now that he's shutting all that down and reinstilling, going back to just the recognition of two genders, a lot of the people that was endorsing Kamala are going to have a problem with that. Like, it's not about to be pretty by any means. They should all leave the country now. Go moving. Russell, start a hippie commune. Get everybody bucked, weed, grass, shots. And, preach to them about the joys of love of the innocent kind, you weirdo.
Right. How you feel about Ray J calling you out? how do you feel about that?
I don't. What I got to feel about Rayford? Rayford is greenlit. Nicki Minaj done called him out on the down low. And there are people that are ready to confirm it. Oops. Rayford better go on ahead. Just go. I told him to become a star. I told he could score his own films with his own music. Yep, him in Orlando. Yeah. That would make an awesome, like, for them to be the Amos and Andy, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? I mean, that's what they're doing these days. Ain't it? Giving head to microphones and asking grown men to be condoms. The shit that people will do to go viral, man. I'm so glad all I got to do is tell the truth. Marco Polo, huh? I wish I would sit there and let a grown man tell me, am I going to be his condom? I will roll up my sleeves and bust down on his face. You did that? You let that man call you a condom for views? What you got, with 25, 30 racks? It can't be all the way green. That video, it can't be better than yellow. It can't be. What you got, 25 racks after you sat there and that had that one, you got one man giving head to the microphone and you got another man asking you to roll down on his eggplant parmesan. You did all of that for 25K, boy. You better than me. Did y'all see that foolishness? Ooh.
I did.
Yeah, we watched it.
Yeah.
Marco Polo. Yeah, that shit was funny. For you.
Well.
And all those freak-off attendees who endorsed Kamala Harris have now become clear enemies of the Trump administration. Ain't nobody getting no pardon. Diddy about to get some company. And with Trump's new agenda to shut down government funded trans, now that he's shutting all that down and reinstilling, going back to just the recognition of two genders, a lot of the people that was endorsing Kamala are going to have a problem with that. Like, it's not about to be pretty by any means. They should all leave the country now. Go moving. Russell, start a hippie commune. Get everybody bucked, weed, grass, shots. And preach to them about the joys of love of the innocent kind, weirdo.
Right. How you feel about Ray J calling you out? how do you feel about that?
I don't. What I got to feel about Rayford? Rayford is greenlit. Nicki Minaj done called him out on the down low. And there are people that are ready to confirm it. Oops. Rayford better go on ahead. Just go on. I told him to become a star. I told he could score his own films with his own music. Yep, him in Orlando. Yeah. That would make an awesome, like, for them to be the Amos and Andy, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? I mean, that's what they're doing these days. Ain't it? Giving head to microphones and asking grown men to be condoms. The shit that people will do to go viral, man. I'm so glad all I got to do is tell the truth. Marco Polo, huh? I wish I would sit there and let a grown man tell me, am I going to be his condom? I will roll up my sleeves and bust down on his face. You did that? You let that man call you a condom for views? What you got with 25, 30 racks? It can't be all the way green. That video, it can't be better than yellow. It can't be. What you got 25 racks after you sat there and that had that one, you got one man giving head to the microphone and you got another man asking you to roll down on his eggplant parmesan. You did all of that for 25K, boy. You better than me. Did y'all see that foolishness? Woo.
I did. Yeah, we watched it.
Yeah.
Marco Polo. Yeah, that shit was funny. For you.
Well,
Try to real ass street stars, nigga. Move it. Hey.
This is over $40,000 worth of orders that I saved over $5,000 on for shipping. Let me tell you how. This is what your house looks like when you get 500 orders in less than 24 hours.
And for you to sit there and have anything to say about Albert Brown Sr., also known as Al B. Shore, after everything that he has endured and the way that Kim loved him until the day she passed away is out of order. It's out of order.
I think he's back. All right.
I bet he's back.
Hello, Courtney. Can you hear us okay?
Everything okay.
So, yeah, we've seen you in the news here again.
This is Jaguar. They're trying to unalive me. Again, can you help?
Hold up, Jaguar. I'd like to apologize to you.
See that?
What's that saying?
That's the message from your lawyer, sir. That's the messages between us. And she ghosted me.
What did it say?
Who should I email this to?
Oh, do you want to read it to him? Or?
Well, I didn't want to put it up too close because her phone number's on there. I don't want to dox her.
Just read it. Don't put the phone
It's
number up.
real simple. This is Jaguar Wright. They're trying to unalive me again. Can you help? It was marked as read October 7th, 2024. And then she put, yes, did you call me? Are you available to talk now? Feel free to call me. We contacted back. She ghosted me. It's all right here. It's a 305 number. Ain't that the same number you call her on? I'm a serious woman.
I'm a serious man.
I hope so, because your life is on the line, sir. You know that.
Yes.
You're playing dangerous games with people who have put their life on the line. Me and you ain't got nothing to say until I hear you publicly apologize to Al B. Sure, sir.
About what?
About every lie you told about him.
No lies. First of all, I told no lies. I'll be sure.
And I'm calling you a liar right now. And if Gene D were here, we would both sit here and call you a liar right now. There is no way Kim Porter would ever ask anyone to disparage that man, ever.
First of all,
Especially not after everything that Diddy has done to him. Do you know how many times we've had to pray him back from flatline, sir?
first of all, I never said I wrote the book. I never wrote the book.
Keep speaking, Courtney. Respond.
Yeah, just keep going, Courtney.
Oh, okay. I never wrote the book, Shannon. So what you saying, Jaguar, is not what you said. There's
Brother,
no way to it.
Things that you said to say. And your stories ain't adding up. I don't know who's coaching you. I don't know who's giving you information. But I'm calling you into account right here today, sir. I am
Call me into account.
people. You are going to stop lying on Gene Deal. You are going to stop lying on I'll Be Sure. And you are going to stop pump faking on a woman who put her life on the line to save hundreds of victims.
And are you saying this has been said within the concept of the book, or out with the concept, the context of the book, Jaguar?
And all of the other chit chatter that's running around, demonizing people who are nothing more than victims of Diddy.
Okay, well let's give Courtney a chance to respond to that.
All right.
The extended list. Just yeah. Well,
let's address.
You know, I'm gonna mute up. I might have the urge to say something.
Go ahead.
No, it's all right, Courtney. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Courtney. It's just for you to respond to what Jaguar has said there.
What is she saying?
All right, Jaguar, do you want to just take Courtney through it again, just to give him a chance to really
maybe 1 point at a time.
Yeah, 1 point.
1 point at a time.
I done muted up. I done said what I had to say. I meant every word that I said, and I'ma stand on it. Because see, what's about to happen is if he keeps flummadilling and sitting here playing possum, I'm just gonna have to play chicken with him. And I promise you, I don't turn off the road. I don't. I'ma mute back up. But understand this. I asked for what I asked for. It's either you gonna give it or you not. The things that were published in that book are things that those children should never have heard. Any of them. Especially those girls. How dare you? How dare you? And there is no way in the world Kim Porter ever gave you the permission to slander her husband. No way.
Hold up.
She would never have allowed you.
You want to let me talk or not, Jaguar?
Yeah, let Courtney respond now. So it's
you coming on? Let me explain something.
Courtney. You're fine, Courtney. Go.
Whatever you saying about Kim Porter book is what you saying. I did not say anything because I never wrote the book. So you coming? I'm no witness of anything. I wasn't never at no party or never at no whatever they saying. I'm going by what you're saying.
What do you mean you're going by what I'm saying? I didn't write no book. I didn't publish no documents. Up until today, no one has ever heard me say that I even had my own access to what was actually written down. I've never admitted that. And I'm actually putting my life on the line right now doing it. And I'm putting some other people in jeopardy that I care about. but I'm doing it for what's right. And I'm just going to have to stand on that. You can retract, you can detract, say whatever you want to say. If you had some very specific things to say about I'll be sure I, as his friend, am asking you give him an apology. That man has been doing enough. He's been doing enough. Listen, to the anniversary of Kim's passing is in just a few weeks. Did you talk to him after she passed? I did.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness?
Yo, you guys still out there, man? Let's we just got a little bit longer on this Jaguar, right? Let's finish strong. Hip Hop Heist, man. Like and subscribe. Thank you.
Second, I don't know who you think you are, but you are no one's friend, sir.
I'm no one's friend. I'm not your friend.
You're no one.
I was your friend or never Gene's friend. You understand?
You are no one's friend, sir.
Right.
Because what you guys have done with that book, everything she did do.
That's the book she. Hold on, Jaguar.
Do you know how many girls she stuck her neck out for throughout the years? No, you ain't talk about none of that. Or how she put her life on the line to help Cassie do everything that she's doing right now. There was so much more to her story that was not talked about. That woman that you made her sound like a common drug-addicted slut. That wasn't...
I haven't wrote nothing in that book. It was printed. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
You are nobody's friend, sir. I'm muting up.
Nobody's friend. I'm not your friend. No, I'm Gene's friend. I know nothing of you. I can't hear.
She's muted, Courtney. So, do you want to just tell the viewers what's happened to you in the past couple of days regarding this grand jury attendance?
Since then, my phone was looking from me. What I had in it was sent to me. Jaguar, she's off the hook. Right now, I'm tired. I don't want to be here. It's a gag war that I shouldn't be talking about what's going on. I was not a witness for Sean against him. I'm here only for my friends. Tupac Shakur. That's the only one I'm here for that was taken away from me.
And that
Did you just say Pac?
Yes.
Oh, you a whole clout chaser. Hold up.
I'm not a clout chaser. No.
Nothing. You wasn't saying nothing about nothing. No. I'm calling Meech. We're going to talk to somebody who actually knew Tupac. Meech. I'm sitting here with the Courtney Burgess guy. He said he's doing everything that he's doing for Pac. I know Pac is your brother. But I don't understand how this book with Kim Porter got anything to do with Pac.
Yeah, what's up with that? That's crazy. Interesting.
What does this Kim Porter sex stuff got to do with Pac? How you getting justice for Pac? Fucking smack on a woman's body count after she did.
Yeah, right. That's crazy. Yeah, what's up with that?
Meech, what you talking about?
He's asking you, but I'm asking you. What does Kim Porter's book and all of the sexual conquest and stuff that was published in there, what that got to do with Tupac?
First of all, it was all I did was got the flash drive, went down the book. I did not write the book.
Exactly. Ain't nobody fitting to slander Pac.
Nah, we can't do that shit. Bro. That's out. Who does that? Fuck Kim Porter.
That's how he feels about it. That ain't got, one thing ain't got nothing to do with the other. You clout chasing. This is
Nobody-
too producer.
Hold up, Jaguar. Let me let you talk.
I'm here now that you
Hold up. Me.
It got nothing to do with none of this.
Gave you respect. I gave you a spot. Don't.
Carry on, Courtney.
I'm gonna mute up Meech. Yeah, he said he wouldn't do that. Apples and oranges. You've been warned.
I'm gonna tell you just like this, Jaguar. I don't care what you got to say. You bring up big news.
Oranges.
Can I talk? Can I talk?
Say something.
Go on, Courtney, respond.
I can't respond. I didn't hear what she's saying.
Do you want to just respond to what you heard? The conversation.
You know what? I'm gonna let her go ahead and do it, and I do what I got to say. Because Jaguar, she's off the hook like she always did. She's a failure to the industry because she only got far as she got. And that's this high.
Well, wait a minute, Meech. Now he's talking about my career.
You understand? Meech, I don't know you. And I don't know you, Jaguar.
You're senior, sir.
What do you say?
That like he said, that don't mean nothing. That you don't know him. Everybody relevant does. Question is, why don't nobody know you?
Because you know what? I'm not a clout chaser like you say.
You are clout chasing. You just brought up Tupac name, and he ain't got nothing to do with this book.
Because I don't have nothing to do with the book, but publishing it. That's what was
Should not have been included in that farce. Tupac's name should not be included in that farce. That woman's personal life has nothing to do with the legacy of Tupac. Cut it out.
First, listen.
Cut it out.
No, you cut it out, Jaguar. Jaguar, you the one cloud chasing. You the one cloud chasing. Oh, you wait, hold up.
Producer and friend. That's my friend. That's not a
Every-
clout chaser. You clout chaser.
How you a friend? He been in jail for 30 years. He been in jail for.
Somebody that knows Pop. Who knows
I know
you?
Pop. I know Pop. He know me. Yes.
Let me just jump in here for a second, right? At the risk of my own life. So it sounds like, and I'm sorry if this is not meant to come out patronizing or anything like that. So, Jaguar, your response is to what has been put in the additional segments of this book that exposed a lot of the alleged activities of Kim, her kids seen it, all the rest of it. Courtney, you're denying even having any part in writing that segment. And I believe, and I'm just taking this from what I took on board when you said you were doing this for your friend Tupac. I believe you meant handing over the drives and doing your part for all of this. I'm not taking sides. I just want to make that clear. Okay, I'm not taking sides. Okay, I can feel your eyes burning through me, Jaguar. Like I can feel them, right? So is that oh, she's pointing at me now. Is that where we're at? Because I feel like when you said you were doing this for your friend, it was the broader actions, and you're not a witness. You were called in to hand over evidence. At no point are we saying that you witnessed or were any part of the evidence gathering or anything like that. I'm not trying to give anyone a way out of this. I'm just saying, for me, it felt like when you said you were doing this for your friend, you meant walking into the court and handing stuff over. And I feel like Jaguar is saying that she is raging, rightfully so, about what was put in that book. And you're saying that you never put it in the book. So I'm going to step back now and hope that I didn't say anything wrong.
No, you didn't say anything wrong. You said everything right. Jaguar just yelling for no reason. She just yelling just to be heard.
She's a passionate woman.
Yeah, passionate woman of a loser.
Oh, don't make it sound like we're on the same side here. I'm scared now.
Did you just call me a loser, sir?
I never.
Yes, I did say it. Don't bite my words.
Your mother's a fucking loser. How about that?
You said
She gave
what
you
I said.
black ass. You should have minded your fucking business.
My mind is my business, Jaguar.
You want to be a pass around nigga? Pass the shit around and do it quietly, G. Do it quietly. But for a nigga that don't nobody know, you know a little bit too much. And now you don't want to know anything at all. And then you want to sit up there and say you doing all of this for Tupac? I got Tupac's friend and producer on the phone. He's calling bullshit on you, G.
All you're doing is pretty talking.
My dad, his ass on the cook. Ain't nobody got to do nothing. There's enough motherfuckers that is tired of the bullshit when it comes to pop. So, if you
Stop.
I didn't hear anything.
You being called up the real ones, G. And guess what? We ready. I wore this hat for a reason.
Because you rehearsed.
We
You told
ready.
somebody you rehearsed, Jaguar.
I just called this man.
I don't know who that is. I don't even hear.
The text messages between me and your lawyer. And now you ain't got nothing to do with it.
I can't hear what you're saying.
I didn't do nothing. I don't know nothing. Didn't I tell y'all? Somebody owes me some money. Because I know y'all took bets. What did I tell you before you came up here? He about to be the stuttering is me getting hammered.
No, it ain't nothing.
You a stuttering nigga.
No, I'm not a stuttering nigga. Jack, I'm gonna let you get your prop. Listen, take your roses.
Leave talking to you in your mouth too much.
Listen,
I'm telling you.
Jaguar, I'm gonna let you get your fame for now.
Wait a minute, Meech. I'm gonna let you tell him yourself.
my man, this is a blessing that this woman is trying to kill this in your head about this Tupac shit, bro. Don't do that. I did the movie, dog. We didn't play with no bullshit when it came to the movie. Nothing to do with Pac, but we play with it, dog. So I'm just letting you know. Please believe there's a tribe out there that's going back to what you're talking about. I'm letting you know.
You can't let me know anything, brother.
Gave you a heads up, bro. Leave that Pac shit alone, dog. I'm trying to tell you, man.
Listen, Meech.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. I don't hear you, what you're saying. You can't tell me to do anything.
All right, that's what he said.
All right.
That's what it is.
Gave you advice.
That's what it is. What it is.
So can I just say that? Sorry, basically what you're saying is
It's real. That's okay. Listen to me. Whatever shit you've been running on, it just got real. Now your lawyer Wright said hi. Shit else to say. You a punk ass motherfucker running around punk faking on greatness, sitting there using a dead woman so that you can do whatever you got doing in the background. You a fucking punk bitch. I don't want to hear shit. You didn't heard what it is. Keep Pac's name out your mouth. I got me here. Come on now.
Some you bitch ass niggas say my name.
I don't care what she's got to say.
I get my name, nigga. Then see how quick the noose end up around your ass, stupid nigga. You stupid as fuck, dog. How take the bitch ass nigga. Fuck.
All right.
Nigga. Get money, nigga.
Let's pull this, Jaguar. Let's pull this back round. Right, let's pull this back round, okay? Because I'm just saying this how I'm observing it, Jack. Right? So you're in complete denial that at any stage Courtney is justified in saying that he had a friendship with Tupac, and
he
that
ain't no right to say shit that ain't nobody that's back in Pac ain't saying. If ain't nobody back in Pac is talking about this imported stuff, then anybody that's a true friend wouldn't be doing something. I told y'all, this nigga ain't nobody's friend.
Listen, I'm not your friend. I'm not here to create myself. Listen, I'm not here to create myself.
You better
Listen.
stop talking about. I'm muted up. I said everything I need to say. I'm gonna
You ain't saying anything. All you doing is yelling. You ain't saying anything.
Did you hear what that grown man just said to you? Did you hear?
What did he say?
That part. Go be dumb.
Listen.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything. Mute is the word.
you drove for.
Man, that was getting heated, huh? Yeah, let's see. I guess let's get back right into it.
See, it's, well, I was just going to say, Jack. Like, I mean, we love hearing your points of view. The way you're delivering this is, it's. I think a lot. I think no. Listen, I'm just being honest with you. I think a lot of people are seeing this. You know, it's passionate. You're angry. You're hyped up. Right? And listen. I just want you to calmly just reiterate. And I'm sorry to say, calm. I'm not trying to be patronized. I'm not doing any of that.
No,
I'm just for me.
I was just waiting until he started calling me names.
Okay, well, listen.
I didn't call him no name.
I didn't call you no name either.
Yeah, you did. You called me a loser, and I'm far from it, sir.
If we can just, can you bullet point cliff note it for me? And I mean, don't just keep it super simple for me.
Anyone who are true friends of any of these people that are attached to this tabloid sensation would never have agreed to or corroborated or confirmed anything that has been leaked out in this very confusing book. The book, I believe, was disinformation meant to confuse things, to buy Diddy a little bit of grace in the jury pool when the jury is finally picked.
Okay.
I don't know who this man has an issue with or who he on the hook for.
Okay.
To apologize to Albie Shore, he needs to apologize to those children, and he needs to keep Tupac.
Okay. So let me ask you one more thing. Let's take all of the book stuff and just put a big rubber band around it for now. Do you not think the fact that he has walked into the court and handed over these flash drives that are going to potentially lead to massive steps forward in putting away this monster? Now, I'm sorry to sort of try and make you say something positive. That's not what I'm trying to do. It's just there's layers. There's layers.
Whatever they confiscated, he didn't sin when he got it. As explosive as that was, if you were really trying to be a good Samaritan, in this case, you would have sent it right away. No, it had to be subpoenaed.
But do you not think, Jaguar, in cases like this, there's a time for dropping this sort of evidence?
If he was really interested in getting justice for Kim, they wouldn't have needed to monetize it first. They would have just given it to the authority to get justice for Kim. This was monetized, sir.
Oh, no, I'm not talking about the book. I'm talking, and I completely understand every point you're making and where you're coming from.
And I'm saying he's not a good Samaritan here, sir.
I'm not here to be a good Samaritan. I'm not here for neither one of them. I apologize to Albie Shore, and I apologize to the family. That's it.
Y'all asked me to calm down, and I calmed down, and here you go. I guess he's getting coached again. Please interrupt her. He's making too much sense.
Yeah, I mean, I do appreciate it.
One comprehensive sentence since he sat here on this pen.
Well, I mean, he did say that he apologizes to.
Yeah, I said it from the start. I apologize to the family, and I'll be sure.
That's all I asked
your
for.
mouth. And you ain't had to ask for anything. No, you didn't ask for that. I've been said it. I've been said it.
Why don't you go to one of your next interviews and do it officially so that the children can hear you?
No, once you go to your next beauty parlor.
You make a big deal out of that.
I just want to interject again. I'll be honest with you, and I'm not one for sides. I'm just one for facts. The very second that Courtney came in, the first things he said were, "Jaguar, I would like to apologize to you." And then before you even anything registered, you had your say. So I'm not picking. Just saying. I think a big thing for Courtney was to apologize for him.
I don't want his apology. Him bringing my name up at all was a clout to begin with. What he had to say about me initially was disparaging. So for that, I see him as nothing more than an agent and nothing more than an op. Not only that,
I get that.
Black people on large platforms looking for relevance, and now
I don't need relevance.
Excuse me, sir. You came like a Sputnik out of nowhere. Somebody made you news. somebody. And considering that I never spoke about you, there was no need for you to ever speak about me. This is the thing that I have, the problem that I have with characters like you that come online. Y'all like to sit here and think you know how this whole information thing really goes. You really don't understand it at all. There is nobody that is better at this than me. There is nobody that will ever beat me when it comes to breaking these kinds of things down. I'm not here for your apology, sir.
I'm here to apologize to you.
No, listen to me. I don't need your apology. It's just simple. Keep your name out my mouth.
I don't argue with females.
Keep your name out your mouth, and while you at it, please stop talking about Tupac when it comes to this, because nobody wants that attached to the legacy of that great legend.
I never attached that to it. I'm not saying anything to you or G. Get lost.
Why would I do that?
How not to pay off your credit card.
She said, why would I do that?
Regard.
That's your boy. You send it to her.
Send Ariel my regards.
You send it to her.
I don't need to chase nobody down. You ghost me once. That's enough.
I never ghost you.
Good luck with a lawyer like that. I just wonder who's paying her legal fees. And I wonder how well she knows Alex Hero. That's what I want to know. You bragging about your cars and showing off your Lamborghinis, and yet you're getting stuff confiscated. I want to know, how are you paying your legal fees? Who's paying?
My cars don't get repossessed.
Well, they're not yours. The question is, how are you paying Ariel? How did you come into contact with her?
Listen, that's my personal business. Honestly, that's my personal business. You need to find your business. And I'm not here to find you.
I'm handling my business just like I'm handling you.
You're not handling me. I'm not answering your question. I'm not here to...
I think there's a certain level of question for a podcast, and I think a lot of the personal stuff.
I understand.
It's a good way of stepping back from McCartney, but I mean, it is.
A lawyer. I'm gonna find out how you know it, and if I find out she has any association with Alex Spiro, start praying, sir, because that's not gonna be good for you. You ain't nothing but a loose end.
No. You are.
You ain't nothing but a loose end.
Can I just ask, right? Listen. Let me interject here, right? Is it not better for you all to like? Is there not a bigger picture, right, with someone like yourself, Jaguar?
When that book went out there, that book did nothing but harm. That book did nothing but harm. It created instant trails of disinformation that have gone from thumbnail to thumbnail to thumbnail, creating reasonable doubt for the diddler. We will not have that. We will not abide it. It is wrong. And to exploit that woman's personal life that way for profit and gain, and you not even turning none of that.
That's all you've been doing. Ever since I've been seeing you, that's all you've been doing is sport to everybody.
Say what?
That's all you've been doing.
Doing what? What are you talking about?
You know you've been doing.
What have I been doing?
let it go.
Okay, well let's get into it for real then. If we're just going to go full on kamikaze, let's talk about the monetization of that book. Let's talk about
what am I? This is a grown man.
Jaguar, right? Jaguar, your point of the monetization of Kim's story, right?
Yes.
The way these books came out, I think that is a fair point. Okay, and I think that's one that I'll ask Courtney.
Money. Was any of that money donated to the legal fees of any of the victims that she tried to help spare? Like, if y'all gonna sit there and talk about Kim, then do it for what she really intended it for, to save and to call those into account that needed to be held into account. Y'all could have done all of that.
I said it, and I'm gonna do it. Movie, anything will be donated to Kim for the twins.
How much has that been donated thus far? Because there have been hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's frozen. Amazon froze it.
Not bad. And he ain't getting none out first.
I have nothing to do with Amazon. You need to slow down. Stop running your mouth so much.
I don't need to do anything but what I'm doing. And whoever you're talking to,
you talking about cloud chasing. You bring me up in here. You want to warn and threaten. Speak about everybody. You speak about everybody. You spit everybody's name out.
I speak about the truth.
Listen, don't fight. You trying to
do yourself a favor.
Choose your own fight. You trying to fight.
You're trying to give me, and use it on yourself.
Okay.
My word is bone. I bow to no one, and I will win. You go back and tell your little boss that. You go back and tell your nuts right here. Yes, you do.
Who's my boss?
Just like you love serving Lucifer. Ain't that what you call Diddy? You got a boss. Tell him that.
How bad do you want it? It's a mentality when you step on that field.
I still got nuts right here.
Real quick, thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna be on for like 10 more minutes. Yeah, drop some comments, man. Is Jaguar right? Or is she wrong? Yeah, let me know in the comments.
Yeah.
Because now I know who you're working for. You just told on yourself. Thank you. That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping that I could get some modicum of truth out of you today. Thank you.
What is it you're alleging? What's your alleging there, Jaguar?
Oh no, he's telling me that my life is on the line, that the bounty on my head is real, and I need to let it go before somebody
I did not say anything like that. Something wrong with her.
We ain't dumb. We ain't dumb here. We ain't dumb here. See, that's the difference between me and y'all. That's why you can't stand me, because I got the balls and the courage to say what y'all too afraid to say. You ain't nothing but a grown baby waiting on daddy to come through and fix you up again. Go on ahead now.
You read a lot of books. You read a lot of books. You read a lot of books.
Take that advice and save it for yourself.
You read a lot of books.
See, I write books. I write news. I'm also a journalist. There's a lot more to me than you know, which is how I know you're being.
I don't know you. I don't do my homework on you. You're not my subject. You're not my subject.
All the more reason you should never say my name.
I ain't say your name, but to apologize to you. That's
Next
it.
time someone asks you anything about me, you make sure the first words out your mouth is, Jesus help me. No comment.
You
no
fishing.
comment.
You trying to
you want to block me? You want to block. That's simple.
Is there any resolution, Jag, is there any resolution that could be found here between you and Queenie?
He needs to do what he said. Be a man of his word. Get lost. Violence and deals.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was meaning in the broader spectrum than just present.
I would appreciate if everyone would look at this man, Courtney Burgess, and see this as a cautionary tale of why getting involved in things that you don't intend to see through is probably a bad idea if you don't have the dexterity and the grit for it.
And what you're referring to that he doesn't have the kahunas to see through at the end, I'm paraphrasing.
He knows. He knows.
I don't know. That's how I know she's something wrong with her.
All your warnings, all of your warnings, let it go. Stop talking about people. Go back and tell your boss that I see.
So, Courtney, I think Jaguar is suspicious of allegedly where you came from and how you got to be such a prolific figure so fast within the realm of this. But, I mean, am I right in saying you've got 35 years connection with Diddy, right?
No, I'm not connected to Diddy in no type of way. I've never been to his parties.
Yeah, I completely got wrong with the person I'm talking about there, so apologies.
No, he said Tupac. Who that?
Oh, yeah, sorry, with Tupac, but no, I was completely referring to someone else. That was.
Do what you do, Dad. Do what you do.
Oh, I will. To the fullest.
Do what you do.
To the fullest. This changes nothing. Go back and tell your boss.
So just let me pick at the label a little bit here, Jack. Right. So if we're saying there's a massive puppeteer behind Courtney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you land then with the USB drives? I mean, where does that fall into?
Where my land is this. Whatever Kim Porter's last words were, it was broken up into multiple pieces. No one person got more than the other. No one person had a bulk of anything. How he was able to acquire all of this, I think maybe the feds wanted to authenticate and see if there was any duplicates. Like I said when I first got on here, they got a lot. Now, I'm sure that what he got ain't much different. Actually, some of it might have been edited from what they've already confiscated. Like I don't think this is a matter of finding anything new. I think this is a matter on vetting and authenticating the legitimacy of what's being said. I tell you what, though, if Carters are behind this in any way, bravo. Great play. Great way to help Diddy and cover themselves. Because you've also been speaking up for Beyonce these days, trying to encourage everybody that she's still an angel. Like, y'all got to do better with how y'all trying to run the misinformation. It's not lining up.
Wait, let me run it back, right? So when I was talking about the USB drives and where you landed on it, right? What I'm getting at is if all of this is if Courtney's got a puppeteer and all that,
he got. I'm telling you, there's no way in the world he got the first hand anything. It was passed down, compiled by someone else. And like he's saying, he doesn't really want to let go of who the source is that gave him all of this stuff. And he said he don't know nothing. He ain't got nothing. He ain't got nothing. They got it. Let it go. I'm doing it for pop. For the people.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, right?
Like whatever.
I'm not being funny, and I will just be honest. I did notice that myself. Of all the ways you could have positioned your hands, Courtney, that was the only way that you could have positioned them in a way that would have caused anything. And I'm going to be honest with you. I noticed that too. So,
all right, man. I gotta stop that shit. Jaguar Wright is she got some information, but damn, when she has an episode, she goes off the rails straight up. I don't know, man. What you guys think? Put that shit in the comments. Oh, man. Well, I'm gonna cut it off. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Peace.